What's up, everyone? What's up,
How are we
everyone?
doing?
You see only three people here. If you're new to this series or you're new here or anything like that, we are missing Benicio tonight. He had surgery recently, so he is getting a sex change actually, and I hope Benicio's watching right now. He'd be so pissed. Oh, I hope he's here. Anyways, no, he's not getting a sex change operation, but he did have surgery, so he's unable to make it. But we are just the three of us, so we're going to be talking about fear tonight, and should be a fun night. We've got a lot of questions and all that stuff, so it should be good. I'm just waiting to see if Benicio's in the chat right now. All right, let's go ahead and catch up with the chat. Let's see who's here. We've got Johnny here. I know he's doing something else tonight. He says, "What's up, cool kids? Sorry I can't make the live stream, but I'm definitely checking out the replay." Marie is here. Joe, your other half.
Hey, Marie.
Rules, just
Yeah,
want to hop
in the other room.
Have a good live stream. Keep it spooky. We got Movie Hunter here. Joe. Movie Hunter says, "Hiya, Joe." Corey's here. I did reach out to Corey to see if he wanted to be on tonight to take Benicio's place, but he was part of another live stream earlier, I believe, actually. I don't know whose live stream. We got Tony here saying hi. We got Laren here, Bob, Nikki, and Joe. And let's see here. Movie Hunter just saying hi to everybody. And so we've got 9 people here. If you're new here, last month we talked about depression on the very first series we did. And I wanted to ask a question kind of before we go live. Let's see what I wrote down here. Okay, in what ways did you make any progress? How was, your month and everything like that? I know we talked about depression last time. So did you work on anything this month? And basically that's my question. Joe, how about you? You work on anything? How was your month? All that stuff.
My month was good. I just pretty much just worked on just day-to-day stuff, trying to spend time with my son, with Halloween and everything coming, but not much. My day is pretty chaotic, so it's always a touch and go with everything that goes on with me.
Mm-hmm. We got Caprice here as well. I know I messaged her yesterday.
Hey, girl.
I'll be there. I was like, awesome. I appreciate it. She was there for the entire time last time. I know Allie and Anthony were probably there the entire time as well. Well, Prince is here with a new nickname now, a new name. Bobster, if you can pronounce Eco's last name, I will give you a foreign title. Also, I'm in the middle of my social media break. Uways?
Well, thanks for coming by.
Eco UIs? Eco Aways? Am I even close? I don't know. I guess he knows how to pronounce it. We got Jess in the chat again. She was here last time as well.
Hey, Jess.
Nikki, how about you? How about your month? Did you, were you able to kind of address anything that we talked about last time or anything that you talked about?
Well, I've just had a very bad month, strange month, full of a lot of fears. I found out the 2 days after we did our last stream that I have cancer. So far, they say that it looks like it's going to be 100% operable. It's going to be easy to get out. It's going to be a bad surgery, a long recovery, but otherwise, just majorly the surgery is going to be the part of it. It's going to be the big thing. I told her I don't want to do chemotherapy if I can at all avoid it. They're looking at possibly a small bit of radiation. Hopefully that doesn't have to happen. So yeah, I've had a little bit of fighting depression this month. I've had a whole lot of being afraid this month, and a couple of good breakdowns on Bob and the husband, and just that kind of month.
I know when I spoke with you and you had told me about it, and then our last conversation, maybe yesterday or 2 days ago, I was saying it's almost like ironic how we chose fear, and you're in the middle of going through something that is scary. and it was it was ironic how it worked out, and how I was like, we're going to be talking about that, and it's something that you're dealing with head on, that you're going to have to deal with head on, essentially, and it's not going to be an easy battle, and like you said, it's scary, so, and it's a tough surgery and tough recovery.
Yeah. Oh, and that's all I'm praying for. I just don't want to be like too sick to play with the grandkids and do the things I want to do. Yeah, I'm having a real hard time. I didn't even work today. I was trying to get back into the doctor today, and they just didn't have an opening. But like I said, I'm going tomorrow and having some tests run to make sure that what they found is all there is and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I'm not 100% clear out of the woods yet, but I'm not as afraid as ago. 2 weeks ago, I was in a super bad place. So,
Which is good. It's
just
gotten
trying
better.
to learn as much about it as I can and know what I have to do and be ready for it when it happens. Yeah.
I did want to say, change the subject here, but I like your new spot. I don't the background. I just kind of you're in a new place, so I noticed it. Nikki.
Well, no, I just have it. I just have the camera angled a little bit different than I did last time. It's pretty much
Oh.
the same spot, though.
Gotcha. Maybe I'm just not paying attention, I guess.
You're not paying
You can
attention,
see my
Bob.
bookshelf
Shut up,
now.
Joe. Shut up. Just a lot of highs back and forth. Is fall a little bit of horror? There's horror aspects of it, but no,
It's horror-esque.
but it's not a horror movie, I wouldn't say. Sorry to hear, Nikki. We'll be praying for
No,
you.
scary, but not.
Very glad to hear it's operable.
Thanks,
love
Hunter.
You, Corey says. Love
Love
you,
you,
Nikki.
Corey.
Nikki sending every bit of love to you. I'll be thinking of you, Laren says. Nikki, my love,
Thank
I
you,
love
Laren.
you so much. I hope you know that, Caprice says.
I love you too, girl.
Hi, Movie Hunter. Caprice twice in one day. Look at that. Okay. Well, for me, I think I recognize certain behaviors or certain patterns, and certain things that help with it. Like getting away from that phase, or going through those moments of feeling depressed or feeling down or lonely or whatever it might be. I think I'm better at recognizing where and when and how those come, but also then understanding how to navigate it is something that I'm learning through myself right now. I think setting goals for myself is actually really helpful in all areas of my life. I have to be consistent with it. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, let's go ahead and we can start talking about fall. And then I've got a list of, I think, 8 or 9 questions or something like that we could discuss. And yeah. So, Joe, anything you want to talk about with fall right away that jumped off the page? I know you said that shit had you in your hands sweating, and you.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I seen fall, it's just I'm terrified of heights. Even like getting on like a 4-foot ladder or like a 3-step ladder to even work on the shelves stresses me out. So me just watching that movie, I was just rocking on the couch, gripping, literally digging my nails into my palms. I had fists so tight. And that's a high anxiety movie for me that I just, even though I know it's all CGI, it's just like I could just watching it, it's just too much for me.
I think they used a lot of green screen too.
Yeah.
Even though there's CGI and a lot of green screen used, it's impressive what they pulled off with it.
Yeah.
How they made the distance look and all that stuff. Yeah. That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was distracting because I'm just like the entire time, all I'm thinking is, oh, well, I wouldn't be caught dead up there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be up there. I would have never done it. Like, especially after the mountainside scene, I just,
yeah.
The vultures. Oof. The vultures. That's what stood off the screen for me is that was it you that said something to me not too long ago about rewatching The Birds? And I said no, because that was the movie that just
I know we
Messed
talked
with me as a
about
kid.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did talk
no.
about The Birds. I said that's probably my favorite Hitchcock movie.
And I just don't know if I'm going to revisit it. And those vultures just reified that for me. I don't think I'll revisit that movie.
Yeah. It was Fall based on a true story? No, not that I'm aware of anything like that at all.
No.
No.
I remember watching an Instagram reel a long time ago of a guy climbing up one of those. It's like the guy gets paid $20,000 to change the light bulbs on the top. Can you do that job? I'm like, I couldn't even go up 6 runs of those stairs, and I would already start sweating.
Yeah. No, I just to get out there and see what it looked like from the bottom. Nope. I wouldn't even have
No.
made the climb.
Did they say how high up it was?
2,000 feet.
Okay,
Yeah.
2,000 feet. It seemed like it was even higher though.
It seems higher just because of how you said the way they did the green screen, the CGI to it. They made it seem a lot higher than it probably actually is. But regardless, even if it wasn't as high as it is in the movie, it still just gets it really got to me. Even when they initially started climbing up that ladder before anything else started happening.
Yeah, it was so rusty, and especially at the top, it's falling and everything. Yeah, no thanks. No pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I said to Tony, because Tony watched it with me tonight, I'm like, did she just say it was decommissioned? And he's like, yeah. I said, well, then that means it hasn't been being maintained. It's been, weathered for how many years since it's been in decommission? I'm like, yeah, these girls are fools, dude. I'm not even thinking about going up there.
Yeah, no,
and then when they get up there and they're finally like, oh yeah, now we just got to go back down. How are you going to get there? Like,
that was the one thing that kind of gets me with the movie, because even if something is decommissioned, because of the height of it and because of airplanes and all that, somebody still has to go up there and change that light bulb, decommissioned or not. So I'm like, how does somebody change that light bulb if the thing's rusting and falling apart?
Yeah, exactly.
It still has to be it still has to be kind of serviced in some way for them to actually do that.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen like posts and reels and stuff like that about jobs where they they get paid to climb stuff like that and put the light bulbs in. But I can't imagine, like, I just bring me up there with a parachute so I could hop down. I'm not going to climb down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I guess
actually have a friend whose ex-husband used to do that for a living, and he fell from that far. He was up there maintaining one of those things and fell. Yeah. Instant.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
because even even with the height, once you start getting up there, you start dealing with the wind and that thing, because even the one time that I got punked out to get on a roller coaster, and I finally did it. And it's a long story, so I won't even get into it. But the I'll just make it short. The roller coaster broke down.
You can make it a long story. Okay, we got 3 people versus 4.
Okay. Back in
1962. Yep.
No, I think it was in the early 2000s. Somebody would have to look this up on Mr. Google. But I went to Six Flags in Massachusetts, and they have the Superman roller coaster there. I've never done the roller coaster ever in my life.
Which Six Flags? Illinois or where?
No, in Massachusetts.
Okay, you just said that. Gotcha.
Yeah, it used to be called Riverside Park, and then Six Flags bought it. Anywho, the person I was dating was like, let's go on the roller coaster. I'm like, nope, I don't do heights. Come on, nag. I didn't want to be a punk, so I'm like, fine, I'm going to go. So we get in the line. It's 3.5 hours. After about an hour and a half, they decide to put both cars on the roller coaster. So they're dry testing it and one roller coaster has to go over before the other one goes inside the station. That's how it works. So the roller coaster keeps on stopping on the hill because they were having problems getting the other one in. I get on this thing. We're like halfway back. We start going up the hill, and then it stops dead at the top of the hill because the other car is not inside the station. We sat there for 20 minutes, and I felt that thing just swaying. And when I got in the car, I wanted to be on the stair side because I didn't want that sheer drop of 221 feet next to me. So at least I have the stairs there to feel like I'm kind of on the ground. But I'm sitting there and I feel the thing rocking. Finally, when they get the thing going, we lost all momentum. So when we get right over the hill, I'm just dangling on the bar. Nothing on my body is touching until the weight of the other cars start going over the hill, and then we take off. And then we did the whole roller coaster. When we went to where the pictures are, there's the person next to me with their arms up, all excited, and there's me like this. And at that time, I still had really long hair, and I was just wrapped around the bar, and all you see is hair up in the air, and you don't even see me because I'm just like holding on for dear life. And they're like, "Do you want your picture?" I'm like, "Burn that thing! I'm out of here." And that was the one and only time. And then the fun fact is, 2 weeks later, same thing happened, but both roller coasters crashed in the station because they had a problem with the roller coaster, and a bunch of people got injured on the Superman at Six Flags. And that happened to me 2 weeks before. So whatever happened to me, they never fixed it. And 2 weeks later, both cars crashed in the station. That was
I've heard. I love roller coasters. I haven't been on because I haven't been to like an amusement park in a while, but I seen one recently. They did at Cedar Point, and it like goes over off the ledge and then like drops down. You're completely just looking straight down, and it's a huge like drop. It looks insane, and people are like, "You couldn't catch me dead on that thing." Like no way. And I'm like, hey, I'm an adrenaline junkie, so give me anything that's hard or challenging or dangerous, and I'm totally up for it.
Now I've seen like POVs.
Tony's going to bed.
Yeah, good night, Tony. I've seen like on YouTube POVs of all the roller coasters at Cedar Point, and I won't even watch those just because that'll even stress me out.
Yeah.
No, I haven't ridden a roller coaster in probably 18, 19 years, and I probably will never get on another one.
No, that was a one and done for me. Even when I was a kid, I never even did the little kid roller coasters at the amusement parks.
I don't mind like the water rides and stuff like that, but no, I don't want to do the roller coasters where I'm all jerking around and everything.
I was gonna say that's the only thing that's never bothered me when it came to heights was the log ride. Even though that has a little bit of a drop.
With the water?
The when you do the water one that you're in like the log and you go down the hill and it drops.
That was a lot of fun.
That's the only thing height wise that I don't mind doing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like that one. I see Joe already right now. I could see him on the ponies, like the little horses.
No, yeah, I always stay. Every time I went to, I don't really go to amusement parks. I haven't been to an amusement park in forever. One of these times, I'll have to break down and bring my son to one. But I try to stay on like ground rides.
When I was young,
I like bumper cars and stuff like that.
I'm like an hour 15 from Six Flags. So when I was younger, I went there all the time, but or not all the time, but quite a bit, several times a year, but not anymore. I haven't been in ages.
Yeah, we're about an hour and 15 away from Six Flags.
Yeah, they ended up adding at ours, and I don't know how many others they added, like the water side of it. I forget what they called it. Hurricane Harbor it was called. Yeah, that's what they added by us.
Yeah, I forgot what the water one was called at Six Flags next to us. We have that, and then the opposite direction, the same exit as Bull Moose, and it's literally like 2 miles from Bull Moose is Canopy Lake Park, where the Ranch Cinema just posted on Instagram. That's literally the same exit as Bull Moose. It's like a mile away. That's another amusement park.
I wanted to talk about some stuff about fall I got written down. Not nearly as much or as deep as the way back was last week. But for me, in the beginning, we've all watched the movie, rewatched it. So obviously, spoilers. Joe and I talked about this. We're going to talk, if you haven't seen the movie Fall, we're going to talk spoilers, just a heads up. So I'm going to talk about the movie right now in detail. But the very beginning of the movie, she loses her husband on the mountain. And Nikki, you had kind of mentioned that earlier. And there's a scene. So she's talk about depression. She's grieving. She's clearly depressed and struggling. And her dad calls her. She goes to a bar. He comes to pick her up at the bar because she's drunk. All that stuff, comes home. And then her friend that was with them in the very beginning comes to see her that night and tells her about the whatever we called it, the thing that they climbed, the 2,000 feet. And I wrote, letting a loss affect the next year of your life. So she clearly, I don't know how long, did it say a year later?
I don't know if it said how long exactly, but it
No,
felt
it
like
didn't really.
Probably was,
It had to be a
quite
while
some
though,
time.
because it didn't
Yeah.
feel like it was just a month or 2 weeks or a couple
Right.
months. It felt like it was maybe possibly even a year, or at least like a half a year. So
Well, based on the conversation they had when she confessed everything to her, that's what made me feel like it was closer to the years.
Yeah.
It felt like that to me. That's why I wrote it, the next year of your life. Even if it wasn't, it had to be close to a year. That's, everybody grieves differently. We've talked about that, and struggles with depression in different ways. That's a long time to grieve. And her dad says something to her. He says, if the roles were reversed, would he be here at the bar drinking his sorrows away? Would he be doing what you're doing right now? And it's a fair question, I think, to ask. And as his father, you probably don't want to see your daughter struggling for an entire year, grieving the way she did. And so I wrote, though, like, letting a loss affect the next year of your life. I think it definitely, you could speak about time, but she let that, not, this isn't fear related right there, but like she let a loss essentially, take away her entire year the next year.
Right.
And and I'm not saying how people should grieve, and she loved her husband and all those things.
No, but it's just a testament to depression can stalemate you in a spot for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. So that was one of the things I wrote down. I don't know if you guys had anything to say to that or on that or anything like that. No. Okay.
Not much on the grieving process. I honestly felt like it was a year just because of it felt like just same time of year, like same kind of climate, weather, and everything. So it made me think like it was a year later, even though they didn't really say it in the movie.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, this is a big quote. It's in the trailer, but it's in the movie. It's in the very beginning when her friend comes to see her and tells her, if you don't confront your fears, you're always going to be afraid. It's one of my favorite quotes. It is my favorite quote of the movie. And I think it's so true too, though. And, I talked to Joe about this a lot. Of people could say, oh, that's cliche or whatever. It's like, I don't mind cliches. They never bother me. You know what I mean? I like cliche quotes. I like all that stuff. I love sports movies, and I do think it's so true. If you don't learn to confront your fears, you're always going to be afraid. But even on top of that, if you don't confront your fears, I think they'll always control you. And Lord knows I've struggled with my set of fears and being controlled by it. You talked about stalemate when it came to depression. I think you used the word stalemate. You could almost talk about fear paralyzing you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Depression could stalemate you. Fear could paralyze you. So.
And when you're in it, when you're in the throes of it, it's really hard to not dwell there. So.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes it just piles on top of it, everything, and other things get on top of it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anything else? I have a bunch of stuff I have to talk about, but what about you guys? Anything that stood out to you about fall, or I've said already, or hasn't been said already, that you want to touch on?
Um, on the film itself, the I don't know. I was gonna say I actually on the movie itself and not on like fear or anything like that, but I actually, even though the movie's very cliche, and we've talked about this before about certain films being cliche or other films being, I actually like the two main actresses in it. I thought they were really good in the film
Mm-hmm.
as actors, even though the role is not the greatest role. I thought they did a great job in it.
I do
Yeah.
too. I actually think Virginia, is it Virginia Gardner? I think is her name. She's the blonde one in it. I think
Yeah.
she's a pretty good actress. They've now been in okay, so this is it is off topic, but recently that came out this year, both of them were in a movie together that was a remake of it's called Breed. It's like a killer dog movie.
Yeah, that's the isn't that the that
It
isn't
came out in like 2003, I think, the
I'll
original.
say I think Michelle Rodriguez is in that as
Yeah,
well.
I think so. So that's the
Yeah.
original. They made a new one this year, and I think it's just called Breed, if I'm not mistaken. But Virginia Gardner, the blonde in this one, she plays it kind of like a little bit of a quack job in it. She's kind of a Looney Tune, but it's kind of funny. But they were together again, and I think they've been in a third movie as well, or they might have. But just to anybody, I've told Nikki this recently, just so you guys are aware, they already announced a Fall 2 and a Fall 3.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they've announced two, and they're both scheduled to be in it. So I'm like, is it a prequel? Is it going to be flashbacks? Because how is she still? She's obviously
Right.
not going to be in it. So I'm like, okay, I don't know how they're going to do it, but she's scheduled. They're both scheduled to be in it. So, yeah. But Virginia Gardner's been in a couple things. She was in Halloween, the 2018 one. She gets stabbed. She's the baby.
Yeah.
She's in that. So yeah, I like her, and I also like the other one. I like both of them.
Yeah, I thought they
They
were
were good.
I thought they were both good in the film. Like I
Yeah,
said, for a kind of cliche story, I thought they were both really good in it.
yeah, I think they pulled it off pretty well. I just get pissed off about one thing in the movie. Nikki, this was your first time watching it. So how did that twist? Did you see that? Did you know it happened? Did you see it coming? Did you kind of figure? Did it piss you off when they revealed it?
Which part? The part about the
Her
husband or the part about her being on the satellite?
No, the husband that pissed me off. The husband being a cheat, like
Yeah.
cheating with her friend. But I think the signs were on the wall. Rewatching it when she's like, "Oh, who was the guy that you were with in that video?" Like rewatching it, I was like, "Oh!" Right away, it came back to me. So I think there were writing on the
Yeah.
wall that they were.
Yeah.
Good.
There was some foreshadowing in there trying to tell you.
Yeah, but no, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the twist where she's actually dead. Did that piss
Yeah,
you
where
off?
she's laying down on the satellite. And,
Did that piss
Mhm.
you off?
No, but it did explain that she was kind of seeming like she was being delusional, like she was already dehydrated and hungry, and so it just kind of played into that a little bit. At least for me, it's what made me realize, she's been there for way too long. It's time for rescue of some sort.
Yeah.
Because she went through that whole thing thinking that girl was talking to her.
Yeah, exactly. I hate movies like that. 47 meters down, Adrift, the list goes on where they do that. I'm not a fan of it. I hate it. Just because I feel like it's like a cop out. I just don't like it. And I always feel like it's a flawed system when you do that. There's always going to be flaws if you look back on it. You're like, well, how did she do this? Or how did that happen if she was really not there the whole time? So there are certain elements that definitely piss me off about stuff like that. Fight Club. Another one.
It definitely had that Fight Club vibe.
A little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't bother me when they do it, but I like it more when it's known. Like, not that it's coming out to be a twist that you find out. Like in a lot of the films, you think the person is alive, but they're actually dead. But when you see it, and since Bob doesn't really watch ghost films, when you see it with a ghost film aspect that the person's a ghost and they're helping the person, they're talking them through it, it's like it never really bothered me. I think because I watch a lot of those films, I never felt like it's a bad thing. Because like 47 meters down, when they first did that, I actually didn't mind it. It didn't really bother me, but it made me want to watch it again to see if I could catch it. Because when I first saw it, I never thought, that was the actual twist of the movie.
So rewatching it, and granted, I'm watching it on my laptop. My TV's still broken. I don't really care about getting a new one. Even my dad came by. I get off topic, that's how I am. But my dad came by. We watched a movie, and he was like, "The laptop's just fine." I was like, "Yeah, it's not bad. It is what it is." I'm trying to save for a bigger TV, so I'm more patient with it. But anyway, so watching it, I heard the bang when I was when she fell. If you listen, now this was just me, but I really felt like you can hear her fall and hit the satellite.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that? Did you notice that at all? I felt like you could hear it even though you don't see it, and that was like a giveaway, I guess, or your way of figuring it out. I felt like it. Maybe other people are like, no, there's no noise.
I didn't hear it.
Okay.
I kind of felt like I did, but then you hear her say, "I landed on the bag."
Yeah. Maybe that's what I heard. They're trying, but she did actually fall though. So
yeah,
it's like, I don't know. Yeah, one of those things. Let's see here. Another quote that I wrote down was, "If you're scared of dying, don't be afraid to live." That was her husband always told her that. That was like in the beginning, she says to her, she's like, "What did he used to say?" And then she comes in the next morning and she says that, like, that's what he used to say. So, I like that. I thought that was good. If you're scared of dying, don't be afraid to live.
I agree with that.
I agree too. I'm definitely afraid of dying, but don't let that hinder your joy to live or take chances or risks or anything like that. Fear, goes back to fear.
Yeah. Like I was gonna say, like I said in the last stream, most of my life, more of my life than not, I've never been afraid to die. So I'm not
afraid to die. I'm afraid to wake up tomorrow hurt.
Yeah, I tried to live my life to the fullest and enjoy every day that I had when I was younger. So, I used to be a madman with the stuff that I did, from driving cars at a multi speeds on the highway, even my motorcycle, driving it 150 miles an hour down the middle of the highway between cars. If I looked at it as I was just going to enjoy it. If I died, I died. But that was just, from stuff that happened to me when I was younger. It's just, I just wanted to enjoy myself, and whatever happened, happened. But I'm a lot more cautious now because of my son and everything. So, I don't live like I used to.
Yeah, it'll change that for sure. I was even talking to my dad recently, not too long ago, and I don't think my dad's afraid of dying either, but he's getting older, and he'll tell me because his wife will say to him, because my dad's like, he's a workout like crazy. Nikki, I was telling you, he comes over, he gets in the shower the other day. He came over like 2 weeks ago. So he takes his shirt off while he's going in the shower and he flexes. He just does one of these. And I was like, it's crazy. He's in incredible shape for 67. And I remember just like a year ago, even posting pictures on my Instagram of like on my story of watching movies with my dad, you can see his stomach. Like he had a very big gut, my dad did. And when I look at myself on these trips that I go on, I could see my gut. Like I don't take before and afters. I don't do that stuff. I was recently talking to Adam. I've been trying to lose more weight, trying to get myself back in shape, but I don't take old photos of what I looked like. I was like, but you know what? I don't have to look hard to see the way I used to look. I could see it in just the shirt I'm wearing. And it was like that with my dad. And it's really cool to see. But I was talking to him about dying and fear and all that stuff. And he was like, Lisa's always telling me, like, why are you always working out and you're always stretching? That's all you do and stuff. And he's like, because I don't want to die. I like staying young. He's like, is that a problem? So he says to me, he goes, is it a problem that I want to be young, like that I enjoy living? He said, I don't want to die. I like living. And he said, I feel like if I can help that, then I'm going to. And so he works his ass off.
Tell him to do whatever makes him feel good.
Yeah, it's crazy. 67.
Mhm.
He needs to find a more supportive. I always tell him that, but it's so, he's been with her for a while now, and he just doesn't want to get divorced, and I get it, but it's frustrating to see. But anyways, I don't want to spew that information out. But yeah, no, it's just good to see my dad, like how good a shape he's in now, and that he busts his ass. He just talking about that fear of death. Like he just enjoys living. He doesn't want to die, but he's not afraid to. He just likes being alive, though, he says to me. As cliche as that sounds. Let's see here. I had another one I wrote down. This was when she is talking to her dad, or not talking to her dad. It's when she's on the cliff the cliff. She's on the thing at the very top, the skyscraper, whatever the hell you call it. And she's sitting on the edge at the top. And I think she calls to leave her dad a voice message. And she says, she says a little bit more, but I wrote this part down. I want to live, but I don't think I'm going to make it, she says to him. And I wrote, the big one that stuck out to me was, I want to live, but I don't think I want to live. I wrote down, I feel like okay, so basically I was backtracking. When she says I want to live, if you remember in the very beginning of the movie, it almost feels like she doesn't care about living. She's so depressed.
Right.
Almost feels like she's suicidal. Not necessarily suicidal, maybe, but they don't touch on that. But she's clearly depressed and struggling and has no desire to live. And later on in the movie, she says, I want to live. And so I wrote down, I feel like so many of us feel this way. Earlier in the movie, she was severely depressed and grieving for a long time. Her father even asks her if she thinks Dan would be, wallowing at the bar if the roles were reversed. I feel like I understand the feeling of being depressed and not willing to fight or wake up or even try. I've been there. But then you realize you want to live. And I wrote down, I guess sometimes it takes something to wake us up or give us a reason to keep going. And whatever that is, I just think that's got to be something. It could be a person, it could be a thing, it could be whatever. I just think you got to find something that makes you feel alive. And she says, I want to live. And like, I think that being up on that cliff and thinking you're going to die and being all alone up there and realizing like, there's no chance I'm going to survive. There's very little chance I'm going to survive. You just realize, like, I think that's that wake up. Like, you know what? I don't want to die. I want to be alone. And I like that. I thought that was relatable to me. I was like, I've been there in a way.
Yeah, I was going to say that there's a documentary. I'm not sure if either one of you seen it. It's called The Bridge. If you ever seen that one.
No.
It's pretty much a bunch of filmmakers that set up cameras at the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and they filmed for 1 year because that's one of the biggest places in the U.S. where people commit suicide.
I do know about that.
And they showed a bunch of people, and they talked to a bunch of people that were completely suicidal and didn't want to live anymore. And literally right when they jumped off that ledge and they're falling towards the water, some people that survived are like, right after I jumped, I'm like, what am I doing? I want to live. And they were trying to turn their body and everything to try to survive that drop. Some people did, some people didn't. But sometimes people have that moment in life, but once you get faced with death, a lot of times that's when you snap out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a Terrifier cup?
Yes, it is.
Nice. I thought it was. Sorry, I got distracted.
I broke my last cup, so I had to pick that up at Spirit when I bought my son.
Spirit Halloween, right? Yeah. I would say, and I'm going to pick on Vinicio here, even though he's not here. I would say that Vinicio would tell you, and he would tell you this. He kind of said it last month, and Nikki, I'm sure you can kind of attest to this. But Vinicio would probably, if he was here, he would tell you that Jesus, giving his life to Christ has given him a reason to live, and that's different for everybody. For me, I've been trying to get back into like church and stuff and praying, but back when I ran all those races, I never felt more alive. Like nothing ever gave me that kind of rush the way those did. Like going out there and doing it, and it was facing your fears too. Like being able to face those fears, there was something about it that just taught me about myself. You learn about yourself, and it's hard. But you know what? I'd rather try something and say I failed than sit back and always wonder what if.
Yeah.
And I've failed a lot. I've failed plenty. I've had some good ones and some bad ones and failures, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, I just wish my body cooperated with me trying to get there. But yeah, like I think you got to find something that makes you feel alive, and that could be a person, that could be a thing. But you know, we all need to have that thing that makes us feel truly alive.
True. You know,
Absolutely.
I feel like all throughout your life you find different things that gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah, I literally wrote down the quote, and here I am saying it. But at the end, as the credits are rolling, the blonde girl, like it's a voiceover, she says, "You have to do something that makes you feel alive."
Yeah.
Yeah. And it could be climbing 2,000 feet. There's nothing like more that's going to make you feel alive than doing what they did. And I'm not saying you got to go and do that by any stretch of the imagination, but do something that makes you feel alive.
Yeah. You know, it depends on the person, you know, different things that of what they like with you. It's like, you know, like you said, it's running. So
Yeah, just competing, going out there, not even against, you know, other people. A lot of times it's just yourself.
oh yeah. Like I said, when I was younger, for me it was playing drums. I used to love playing drums, and I never felt more alive than doing that. I used to do it 6 to 7 hours a day and drive my grandparents crazy, making a racket down in the basement. But it's something that I loved, and I just, you know, did that. And then when I didn't play anymore, it was motorcycles and then movies. It's, you know, you just find something that makes you feel good. And now, like I said, it with me now. It's my son.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's most important to me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You got to have that. All right. You guys want to dive into the questions?
Go for it.
All right. Let's catch up with the chat here, and then we'll dive into it. Movie Hunter says 10-minute drive to Six Flags. They also have a hotel with an indoor water park across the street. Doesn't why am I drawing a blank here? It's in Wisconsin. Wisconsin Dells. Isn't that all like indoor as well? It's like an indoor hotel, I think.
I don't know. I've never seen that one.
Wisconsin Dells. I went when I was a kid. I know it was a lot of fun. As a kid, especially. That's just very fun stuff for kids. Hello, Caprice. Hey, Movie Hunter. Hi, everyone. Here we go. Allie's here.
Hey,
Thanks
Allie.
for being here, Allie.
Hey, Adrian.
I've seen that movie. It's amazing. All right. Which movie were we talking about there?
The Bridge, the documentary.
Oh, the documentary. Okay, gotcha. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm just joking. I only have 8. Nikki's head spinning like, how many questions? All right.
I know where the button is. I can go anytime.
What is fear costing you?
Well, recently, nothing, because all it makes me want to do is spend more time with people that I love, doing the things that I love, and being more attentive to myself. Some things I've put on the back burner for a while. So it's not really costing me anything. It's actually giving me something now.
Yeah, I was gonna say for me, the only thing that fear cost me is like something, you know, there's a lot of things I'm afraid of, but you know, on the only one that really affects me like that is the height thing. You know, affects me on doing certain things that are high, but besides that, with other things that, you know, I fear, a lot of it just gives me more drive. I think one of the first questions you should ask is, what are you afraid of? And then it would have been maybe a better way to transgress into this question.
Yeah, well, what are you afraid of then, Joe? Heights, but go on.
Well, small things is heights and mice. Those are like the two things. Those things, heights, I'm afraid of. Mice, I'll scream like a 2-year-old girl.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
Those are like the two things. I remember the first house I had, I saw a mouse and I put it up for sale the next day. I didn't even call an exterminator.
Joe, I'm staying. When I stay with you, whenever I come out there, I'm bringing my.
I'll set the house on fire, and I'll
He
make
said,
sure
"I won't have
you're
this
in
house
it.
no more."
I'll make sure you're in it for bringing that. But my biggest fear is,
Well, my next question kind of relates to this. So there you go, Jeff. Or Joe. I just did them out of order, I guess. What is your biggest fear, and where you think it stems from? So I guess I went out of order with it. I'm sorry, Joe.
my biggest fear is not being enough. Not being enough or letting people down.
No, now we're getting to the good stuff here.
To me, that's my biggest fears. And that just stems from my parents leaving my mom leaving when I was 4 months old, my dad leaving when I was 5. So I always felt like, why did they leave? What did I do wrong? I always put it on me. So because of that, I always felt like I wasn't good enough, so because of that, I just felt like I needed that drive to always do better in life. Or I always, like you said, set goals for myself or try to never let nothing hold me back. If I put my mind to anything, I felt like I can accomplish it. And there's nothing I wouldn't drop to get something in life. Like when I was younger, I wanted to have a better job. I wanted to, buy a house and everything else. And I gave up all my friends, my girlfriend, everything. And I stayed single for almost 7 years and worked 72 to 84 hours a week just so I can buy my first house at 20 years old.
Which is the house now?
No, that was 5 houses back. I was 20 when I bought my first house. It was a 3-family house that I had a boss that, helped me deal with it. It's like, buy a condemned house. You could buy it through auction from the city. I bought it for $10,000. I went to the trade schools. I brought the teacher with the students to my house, and then he taught how to do home improvements. The teachers did it, so I paid for no labor. I got grants from the state from a first-time buyer, and I did it that way. That I did it smart with my first house, and I had that for almost 10 years. But and I gave up everything to give myself a better life. But it's like, it comes down to, if you want something bad enough, you have to make sacrifices, and you can't look at like I've told other people, you can't look at what everybody else has or look at what people have on Instagram and go, oh, I wish I could do that. You got to march at your own drum and not worry about what anybody else, because the only person you got to impress is yourself. And as long as you have that goal. So like I said, my biggest fear was always not being good enough or letting people down. And to me, letting somebody down is more important than impressing anybody.
I love that. I think a lot of us can relate to the not being good enough. Letting people down for sure. I know I've let people down. I have a lot of amends that I have to make with certain people in my life. I know I've hurt a lot of people, and some of that I don't want to say it's justified. Some of it's just me being as blunt as I am, and some of it was just me being a terrible person, you know. And so I look at that, and I could definitely I could relate to that, Joe. I like that. I like that answer, man. I think that's that's why we do this stream and this series. Is I want to get deep on conversations and topics like that.
Yeah, I just always, I'm the type of person that I don't really care what people think of me, because I just care more about myself than what other people think of me. But on the other hand, I never want to hear anybody say anything bad about me. So, and if somebody does, I try to think of why they said that, and I try to improve on that.
Honestly, I
You
think
never want to be the one to hurt someone else.
Yeah,
You don't want other people to feel the things you have felt, so you don't want to be the inflictor.
yeah, because it's similar to like what I said on the last stream. When most of your life you lived unhappy, a lot of times when you can't fix yourself, making other people happy makes you happy. So when you see happiness in other people for what things that you did, it's the only way you can get any kind of gratification for yourself, because you can't make yourself happy on your own.
Right.
So
honestly, Joe, I think what you said about I get so distracted and lose my train of thought so easily, but I try not to interrupt either. Was about my God, I'm forgetting it. You were talking about like words that people say to you and can be hurtful, things like that. So speaking about trolls, right? Like internet trolls, and for so long I struggled with, and I could have talked about this in the in the beginning of the stream with depression, like where, what have I learned about it? And, the progress that I've made is understanding that when I focus on negativity too much, or the negative things that people say about me, or I get caught up in that stuff, social media, right? What people post or say about you, or just drama, or trying to include you in it, or just negativity about anything. I think when I get so caught up in that, that's when it affects my life in a negative way, because I think negativity is like spreads like a wildfire. And so for me, I being, not to get all sappy here or whatever, but words of affirmation is a big one for me, right? Like if you want to talk about love languages, I think love languages are very fascinating. I enjoy them. I think they really help in a relationship. I think that love languages can apply outside of a relationship too. And so for me, words of affirmation is a big one. So now when I say something, I mean it. So if I tell somebody I think they're pretty, I mean it, right? I'm not just going to tell you I think you're pretty if I don't really think it, right? I if I say it, I mean it. I've always been that way, and that could be in a negative way. But I think the tongue is a very powerful weapon. And Nikki, we were talking about this, in the fact that it can build up and make you feel really good. Hey, Joe, you're a good guy. You're a really good dad. Sometimes he needs to hear that, right? And that's important to Joe to hear that. And I think anybody wants to hear that. But for some people, it's more important than others. Versus, hey, Joe, you don't do enough. Or, hey, Joe, you could be like, if it's the opposite. So the tongue is very powerful in the fact that I can encourage Joe and build him up and make him, feel good. I'll give a story here. Speaking of the Shia LaBeouf podcast that I love, Nikki, he talks about in that episode, he talks about how Brad Pitt, there's a moment where Brad Pitt asks him a question on the set before he's about to do his whatever, you know what I mean? His dialogue or whatever.
Right.
He says it went straight to his head because Brad Pitt's asking him a question. Like he goes, but he talks about it, and then he says what he was doing was bigging me up. He was letting me know, like he was getting me ready for that set, letting me know, you know what I mean? Like he was just a cool dude bigging me up. And I think that's important. I think sometimes in that phrase, you need to big people up. You need to let them know, hey, Joe, you're cool, man. Like you're doing a good job as a dad, dude. You're doing good. You work hard. Like don't forget that. And I think that's important. And then I think on the opposite side though is, and I don't know how much words affect Joe, but I know they affect me a lot. So when I always heard you get those trolls in there, even though they're trolls and they're trying to do that, and that's just what social media is, rage baiting or whatever the kids call it nowadays. But it affects me. It really does. And I'm trying, as I grow, I'm trying to learn to not let words affect me as much. But on the flip side, when somebody tells me, you know, it gives a compliment, like I just don't think men are complimented enough either. Joe, I'm sure you can attest to that.
And
I
men are
That's
not
right.
always comfortable giving a compliment.
No, and maybe receiving one. I know some people don't receive compliments very well, but Nikki, I know you compliment your husband, and I think it's just so important. When I hear a woman talk about like when she bigs her man up or speaks highly of him, I'll give Ellie as an example, okay? Because she's in the chat. I think I don't know. I'm not paying attention to the chat right now, but Ellie is dating Anthony. Okay, most people probably know who they are. We got 11 people watching. Anyways, my point is that anytime I talk to Ellie, anytime you hear Ellie talking, she's bigging Anthony up. Ellie does not cut Anthony down. She's always speaking highly about him in every facet, right? And I don't talk to Anthony enough, but I'm sure it makes Anthony feel really good. I sure hope it does. And I think it's so crucial for most men. I'll speak on myself. I can't speak on Anthony's behalf, to be complimented and to just let you know you're doing a good job. I think it's every man's like desire to feel wanted or feel needed. I always want to feel like I'm worth something. I'm worth being here. I don't want to feel useless. Even going live, right? I want to feel like I make a difference, like I matter. Does that make sense?
It makes
Absolutely.
perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to touch on that one, Joe, because you've been everything you've said so far is like hitting right here, and it's just like I can relate heavily to it.
Yeah. I when it comes to words of encouragement or even the trolls or anything like that, I like words of encouragement. It means a lot more when it comes from people I know. But on the negative side, the closer you are, the more I take it to heart. When it comes to trolls or anything like that, I've never let that bother me. You know, even back when I did YouTube, and this sometimes, people gave me crap about how I collected or this, that, and other thing. I never let that stuff bother me or whatever they said, because I just don't care. I don't know you. I don't really care what you think. You're not a part of my life. I would take that more if Bob said it, or Corey, or anybody in the chat that I know. I would care more hearing it from them than hearing it from somebody I don't know, because then at least I'm going to listen to you. You know what I mean?
On the flip side of that too, speaking about people that you trust. So I'll give an example. Tony, for example. I always say this: Tony, Joe, Adam, Johnny. There's a couple people that they're like my rock. Whatever as that sounds. But I'm so close with them. I look up to Tony. I think he's a great guy. I always describe him as one of my best friends or closest people in my life. And I appreciate that Tony, now he's got a sarcastic sense of humor, let me tell you, and it's extremely dark. But Tony is the type that I think he feels comfortable enough calling me out. And I appreciate that about him. And Joe has always been that way with me. We talked about that, and I won't go into detail or personal stuff necessarily, but I think it's important for me. I respond better to constructive criticism and feedback that way, rather than the like, it's okay, it's all going to be okay, like everybody goes through it. I don't like that. I don't need to hear that. In a breakup, even, I don't want to hear there's other fish in the sea, or like it's all like pampering. Because I could do that myself. I need somebody who's going to get me back. Like, hey, dude, like you can't sulk forever. And I had that with my friends. So speaking about like having people that are close with you, and I'll speak about this. I guess I should save it for the next stream next month, because I'm going to speak on it a lot. But I did have a friend after a breakup once, and he helped me through it. And I'll talk about it on the next stream. We're going to do a lot more. But I do think you need to have people in your life. I think it's important to have people who are going to be the soft ones, like it's okay, it's all going to be okay. But I also think you need to have the tough ones who are going to like call it like it is and just let you know. And also not afraid to tell you when you're being a dick or you're doing wrong.
I agree.
Important. So Joe and I are always like that with each other. And I think it doesn't always work that way. Not everybody has that relationship. You have to get to that point, that comfort level. Nikki and I have that, Benicio and I have that, of being able to do that. Not everybody has that. And don't mistake like kindness. You know what I mean? You need to have that relationship, and you need to know you have that before you go and do that.
Yeah. You got to know the person, and you got to be close to that person to actually do something like that. Because if you do that with somebody that you don't really know, they're gonna punch you or shut you out,
Yeah.
depending on if it's in person or over a message.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I guess I will give my thoughts. What is my biggest fear? It's failure. I actually have when I went back to so not to get into all this detail, I recently went about a month or two ago. I went to Celebrate Recovery. It was my first time going in like 9 years, and I haven't been back since or anything. But I went with somebody that I'm really close with, and I was talking to him, and he sponsors a lot of guys, and I was talking about it, and he said one of the things that he makes his sponsees do is do a list of 25 fears, 25 resentments, and 25 things they're grateful for. And I think I was just recently talking to Tony about this. But I think one of the big things to change like depression or negativity or fears or anything like that is to think about things you're grateful for. You can always flip certain things to finding ways to be grateful. So for me, I know this might sound corny, but one of my biggest fears is failure. So my biggest fear is failure. Where do I think it stems from? I'll say this though. I can flip that fear of failure into thank you for the opportunity to fail. You know what I mean? Like I get the opportunity to fall and to repeat. And I could talk about it, and I'm sure I will later on tonight. But running all those races I ran, like I said, I know what it's like to fail, to quit, to fall short. But I always had the opportunity to do it again and to attack it again and try again. And so I think it's always a matter of like flipping that. Fear of being alone. Flip that into I'm grateful for my time alone. Not everybody gets that. So be grateful for it while you have it. So it's a matter of like I've been thinking a lot about that. Losing everything. Well, I didn't. Like I haven't. I still have it now. So enjoy the moments you have now while you have it before you do eventually maybe lose everything. Like so it's just a matter of flipping that, feeling ashamed or being mediocre, finding ways to flip it to being grateful, I think can help. And then it can get rid of that fear, and it's a matter of facing it. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, like Joe, I literally have a fear right here, letting everyone down. It's one of my like I literally have that written down. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I just think it's important to hear like from one person anytime, man. Like to hear, hey, you're doing good or you matter or anything like that. Like you never know the impact you can make by telling somebody like just complimenting somebody or letting somebody know that they matter or they're important to you or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like I said, for a lot of people, I feel like letting people down is something that's big, and like I said, it's what gives me the drive every day to, no matter how tired I am, no matter how many times I don't want to get out of bed in the morning just because I'm exhausted from the night before, it gives me that drive to get up every day and keep on chugging and do what I have to do to make a better life for me and everybody around me. And like I said, I just it gives you that drive and that will, but you have to be willing to do it. And it's similar to like how you said with races and working out and everything. It's like once you get out of that, it's tough to get back into it. And it's like, so with me, even with all the hours I work that I've been doing it for over 30 years, I no matter how tired or anything I am, I never call into work. I never take time off, and I just keep on doing it. And no matter what goes on in my day, just because I have to look at the bigger picture, because I never want anybody to be disappointed in me for not being able to do something or not being able to provide, because as a man, that's like the worst feeling you can have is not being able to provide for people around you.
And we talk, Joe, you and I talk about that quite a bit, like what it means,
Yeah.
what it means to be a man. And like, I think one of the ways part of being a man is stepping up. Like that's, and I think there's a lot of different definitions of what a man looks like. And I think men should be answering that question, to be honest with you. I remember, Nikki, I showed you a post. It was like, who was it? It was one of the Wayans brothers. They were on the set of that new movie, Him, and the Julia Fox, which is the actress in the movie. She overpowered the entire conversation by talking about what she thinks it means to be a man. And I was like, let's leave that to a man to say what it means to be a man. Like, I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, I always just go to the Bible. The Bible just says the man is the provider and the protector. So that's just where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think a man needs to lead and lead by example.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that I
And
think
that's not to take anything away from a strong woman that helps them be there.
I think a mother is super important, but I do think when you see the statistics when a father is absent, what it does to a family. And I think that a mother is so important too. Once again, just like you said, it's not taking anything away from that, but I'm a man, so I can only speak on that necessarily. And what it means to be a man, what it means to me. But everybody has a different definition of what that looks like as well.
Yeah.
Right. We did What Is Fear Costing You? I think, well, I for me, fear is costing me when I think of failure, and I think of a lot of my fears that I have written down. I wrote frontline OCR is one of my fears. It's that race where you run with the 20-pound vest. I failed it twice. So speaking of failure, I failed that race twice. Now I finished the race, but I failed to finish with the vest. You run with the 20-pound vest. If you finish every obstacle with the vest, you can fall short of an obstacle and try again. I did that. I was there on one obstacle for 4 hours, failed it though. Went back again the next year, same obstacle, failed it. And I haven't ran a race since then. So you speak, what is fear costing you? It's cost me trying. It has cost me putting myself out there, and even fear, the fear of falling short again and again and again. And just feeling like you're, like Joe said, you're not good enough. Like, this is different than you're not good enough with the person. This is, I'm not good enough to do it. I'm not good enough to finish it. But I also believe in finishing what you start. And I think it's okay to fail and try again and fail again and try again. I don't think it's okay to quit. I don't think it's okay to sit there and just not try and get better. You can figure out, like a AAR, an after action report, figure out what went wrong, what can I do better, and do it. Like, to figure out how you can push past it.
Implement your SMART goals.
Yeah, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. I love SMART.
And I was gonna say, and that's one thing that you and me have talked about before, and I've talked to you about. It's like, I don't feel like in my life I've ever failed for the sole purpose of, you don't fail if you keep on trying.
Mm-hmm.
I constantly try. I don't care how much I fall on my face. I'll get right back up and I'll learn from what I did wrong, and I'll do it again. And if I fall on my face again, as long as I never give up trying, I don't feel like I ever fail, regardless of what I do, because I will constantly have that drive. And that's why, like we've talked about it, I never look at, oh, I don't want to do this, or, I'm worried about that because it might not work out, or, well, what about if this happens? I can't, I never look at that. I look at, like we said, if you have the drive and the will to do it, no matter how much you fail at it, as long as you're never giving up trying, nobody can ever say you're not doing it, because you're trying your best to do it.
You're putting yourself out there.
Yeah. You're never going to feel like a failure in somebody's eyes. Let me phrase that to normal people, because some people will look at you that if you fall on your face that you're a loser. But even if you're trying, but most people will feel like, he's doing his best and he's doing everything he can in his power to achieve that goal. Some people can't understand that. Some people can't. And those are the people that you don't need around you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some people don't know how to make goals and keep to them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's called, they don't know how to hold themselves responsible for anything. So
Yeah, most people don't want to be accountable for things, or they don't want to be judged by other people from their failures or their misfortunes. So they look at it as, if they don't put themselves out there or try, they're never going to let anybody down because of that reason.
Yeah.
Me, I try to be the opposite of I'm constantly fighting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Progress happens outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
I guess we can move on to the next question. Well, I got 20 comments in the chat, so I do want to catch up on that. Let's see if we can figure out where I left off. I don't do the bookmark things. I just try and, it's a lot of hellos, people popping in. Like, we got Nick in here. Y'all ever seen the movie 68 Kill? I have not seen the movie 68 Kill. I do want to see that, though. I know Scream Factory put that one out, I think.
Yeah.
Finally home from work and traffic will catch the replay for what missed. Well, how is 68 Kill? Thanks, Adam. Tell me about it. Joe took a job I didn't want just to provide for my family. And yeah, exactly. Absolutely. 100%.
We've all done that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we've all done it.
And that's part of being exactly it. Look, you got your back against the wall. You got to provide, and yeah, you got a wife and she's working and things like that, but you still got to get out there and provide too. You got to work. Like, you can't be a deadbeat. What's up, y'all? I have been watching. We're eating Subway, and we got all you beautiful people on the big screen. Well, thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, sir.
How was Subway, man? Did you get a foot long or a 6-inch? We've got Mama Blu-ray in the chat. Hey, Mama Blu-ray. So lots of highs to and Anthony. We've got Anthony saying, Ellie definitely bigs me up for sure. I also hype her up too. It's important to support your partner, and it's also crucial to be honest with them. And say for myself, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it goes both ways for sure. Absolutely. I do it anyways. Scared, worried, tired, no matter what the issue, I do it anyways. Words I'm living by lately. Yeah. I have an idea. It's crazy, and I think I'm gonna do. I don't want to say this because if I don't do it, I haven't made a video in so long. But I used to do that. Get to know me more than movies, and I don't know why I got this idea. Like, because I couldn't sleep last night, and I got the idea that I wanted to do another get to know me more than movies, which is kind of what we do here. But I wanted to do talking about like what it means to be a man. And I think that would be a good video to do because it's so different for everybody. And it means something different for everybody. But I also have so much to talk about on that subject, especially recently, just watching like my friends and everything like that too. So
I would watch it.
I think sometimes you get the opportunity as a man to watch what it means to be a man through other men. So what I mean by that is like my dad, right? As a kid, you're going to get to watch your dad do that. Ideally, your father shows you and gives you a good example of what it means to be a man. But you can watch your friends, whether that's Tony or Adam or Johnny or whatever. That might be the way they treat their wife. It might be the way they treat their kids. It might be the way they handle themselves. But you get to see that in different ways. And hopefully they set a good example of it because everybody's always watching, especially kids. I am physically bedridden, but you wouldn't believe what I can do, Mama Blu-ray says. How about that, Mama Blu-ray? Well, I hope you're doing good. I know you're bedridden, but I hope you're feeling better. Okay, let's see. Let's banners. Okay. Next question. If you weren't afraid, what goals would you pursue? What actions would you take to achieve those goals?
Who wants to go first?
Going to the fear of heights thing. If I weren't afraid of it, the one thing I would want to do, skydive. not in the physical condition to be able to do skydiving right now, but you at least have 2 parachutes. Whereas if you bungee jump, you have 1 rubber band.
I would like to skydive and bungee jump. It's kind of like a bucket list thing for me.
No, the only thing I've always wanted to do is always wanted to cliff dive, or I wanted to do base jumping. I like the whole. I've always thought that was kind of cool, especially the cliff diving. I've seen it. I've stood like far away from a cliff and watched people jump, and I heard the splash. I couldn't look down, but because I think I told Bob this story. I am so afraid of heights. I remember after 9/11 happened, I went to New York City like 3 weeks after it happened, and I decided to go up the Empire State Building so I can go up to the observatory deck and the whole night out. And I don't like heights, but I was going to do it. When you go up the Empire State Building, halfway up, you got to get out of the elevator, go into another elevator to go the rest of the way up. When you get up to that get off the first elevator, you're like in this hallway of like offices. And the windows are literally like ankle height off the floor. And they had the windows open because it gets so hot in there. And I'm standing in line, and I'm probably 4 feet away from the windows. And they had the windows open, no bars. And I can literally feel like gravity pulling me towards the window, like it's trying to suck me out of the building. That's how scared I am. That literally just standing near a window that high up, it felt like it was trying to suck me out of the building. Heights is something that I've tried many times to overcome, and it's the one thing that it still to this day just bothers me, But again,
I'm gonna put Joe.
But if you weren't afraid, where would you go? Where would be the highest point you'd want to see the view from?
I was gonna say I've been to the top of the Empire State Building. That's pretty high. The only thing I wanted to do was when I went to Paris, I wanted to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and I couldn't do it. I looked at it from the ground.
Yeah, Joe, I think what I'm going to do to help you face your fears is I'm going to put you on a cliff that's like 1,000 feet up, and I'm going to just pour mice all over it.
I don't know. Like I said, I think if it comes down to like,
we're just one single mice.
Yeah, I was gonna say it comes down to like with anything. A lot of times you face your fear when something happens, and I feel like that's the only way it's ever gonna happen to me. Like right now, I have to clean the gutters on my house. I hate heights, but I have to get up that ladder to clean the gutters on my house, and I do it. I'm shaking the whole time I'm on that ladder, but I do it because it's something I have to do. But like, if my son was trapped on a flagpole, let's say, hanging by his belt, I'm going to climb up that thing to save him, regardless of the height, because I have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in some type of adversity, I will have to overcome my fears if I have to do it for a certain reason. But it's not going to be by choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Same thing with mice.
It won't be your choice when I flood your house with mice. Remember that, Joe? Oh, geez. I'm going to get Joe with the mice all the time now.
I don't even watch movies with mice or rats in it. Willard, Graveyard Shift. Nope. I won't even watch it.
Ben?
Nope. Don't even. I've never owned any of them. Want no part of it.
Yeah.
Graveyard Shift is a bad one to read. Oof.
Is that a Stephen King novel?
It is.
Yeah,
It's a
it
short
is.
story in a Stephen King
Okay.
collection.
I know the movie. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
No, if it even comes up on the TV screen by accident, like me and Marie just killed 18 seasons of Criminal Minds, and a couple of times they had like a rat running by, and I was just like, "Oh, tell me when it's over!" And I'm covering my eyes just because I couldn't see it on the screen.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see here. If you weren't afraid, what goals would you pursue? Well, for me, it's weird because I couple it with injuries though, because I don't think you know what I mean. Like, money can sometimes be a factor for certain things because I don't know, maybe like it would be a relationship. I haven't been in a relationship in 5 years. I've been single. I think part of that is fear, right? Getting hurt, putting yourself out there, getting rejected, letting somebody down. um, so for me, but also a big one though is like all these getting back into racing and doing all those, you know, different things. I always wanted to run a marathon in all 50 states. I had done several, but I just injuries and stuff like that. But then I feel like sometimes I'm almost making that as an excuse, like injuries, and letting that be an excuse. But they're legit, so it's frustrating. I think so. If you weren't afraid, what goals would you pursue? A lot of it would be like traveling more and trying harder races. That's what it would be for me because the harder it is, the more I put myself out there and do those things, the more I feel alive. I never feel more alive when I'm doing those things. So that's what I would do if I wasn't. What actions would you take to achieve those goals? Yeah, I mean, I'd work hard at it, like Joe was saying. You just work tirelessly to get there. And I think I would if it wasn't for the damn fucking injuries all the time, different things.
Yeah, because I remember you and me talking about, and I was telling you they should try those. I don't even know what they're called. Those Viking races.
Yeah, I do all that stuff, man. I do every single one of them. I think they're a blast. I think they're so much fun. You meet cool people on the, but you just get lost out there and you, like find a piece of yourself through it.
Yeah,
So,
and like I told you a long time ago, I'm 20 miles from the start of the Boston Marathon. So if you ever want to do the Boston Marathon, you can stay at my house. I'm 20 minutes from where I live 20 minutes from where they start the race.
yeah. Well, you have to qualify for the Boston Marathon, so that's
Yes, you do.
yeah, it's pretty tough. But I'd love to do it. So, you ever go out there and watch it, Joe?
No.
No.
I work if I work that way, they actually all the jobs have to take that day off. But because I work the opposite direction of the star, I have to go to work.
Gotcha. All right, yeah, because it's on a Monday. I know. Okay, we all
Yep.
covered that one. I think. Let's go on to the next question here. I think there's 4 questions left. Are you afraid of what other people might think of you? I know, Joe, you said that you don't really think much about
No.
the
I
trade.
don't care what anybody thinks of me, honestly. I'm harder on myself than what anybody would say about me. So because of that, I look at it as nobody could really say anything about me that I haven't already thought about myself. And it's like they say, a lot of times you're your worst critic. So I never really cared about what anybody thinks of me. I care more about what I do and what I do for the people around me and for my family than what anybody thinks of me. I've always told people before, don't worry about what anybody else does. You got to worry about yourself. And, because those people are not going to be around well, similar to what I said on the last stream that I've told people, a lot of those people that are saying stuff are not going to be around when you fall on your face or you need something. You're going to have to figure it out yourself and you're going to have to do it yourself. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks or what anybody else thinks about you. You got to be true to yourself and worry about yourself. So I honestly don't care. You know, even like I said, there's nothing that nobody can say that I haven't already thought about. So nothing you're gonna say is really gonna hurt my feelings.
I think we are our own worst critics.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Nikki, how
The
about you?
only
You care
people,
much?
the
I
only
don't
people I'm afraid of what they might think of me are my kids and grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I just want them to have a good impression of me, and I want them to be able to carry that on after I'm not here.
I think Jeff has a good impression of you.
I hope so.
I sure do too. I'm bummed out he can't be here tonight. Hopefully he'll catch the replay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see here. Am I afraid of what other people think? I always said like I don't care, and I don't think I care. I don't really care what trolls think, but words do, whether I want them to or not, words affect me, and good or bad. And so like I don't know if that makes sense in the fact that I don't let other people affect like how they feel about me. That doesn't really matter. It is what it is. I am who I am. I think there's always room to grow, but I am this person I am, whether you accept that or not. But I also, it doesn't like words affect me for sure, though, on the flip side of that.
I was gonna say I was a lot like that when I was younger. That but a lot of times, like we've talked about before, a lot of times it just ruins your whole day. And like I've always said, life is just too short that for me to waste that that part of my brain thinking about stuff when I could be doing other things with my life. And I can't let that affect my life and the time that I have.
Yeah. Yes, skydive. I've been offered to do it several times and have turned it down. The fear is real, not of heights, but an
Right.
accident. And shoot's not working. Yeah, which is fair. Bob would go over the cliff. Just said over
Bob would definitely go over the cliff.
I get so close to the edge when I travel and I climb a mountain or something like that. I go stand right over the. There was when we did not Camelback Mountain. Well, when I did Camelback Mountain, I was pretty young. I was in my early 20s. And the person made a joke. They were like, go stand over the ledge and go like this. And I think his wife was like, don't tell him to do that. And I was like, yeah, I will do it. But I remember when I did it with my sister, I can't remember what it was called. It was in Arkansas, Little Rock. And there's like when you get to the top of it, it's very high up. And there was it's like blocked off where you can't. So I stepped right over and I went over to the edge where it's like blocked off. You're not supposed to go because me. I was like, I gotta get the adrenaline going. I gotta look over the edge. So
I was gonna say I've watched so many videos on YouTube of
falling.
of people going over the railing at uh the Grand Canyon to take that one selfie and they slip off the edge, or let me stand on this thing and they fall off the side, or I'm just like, no, you're dumb.
I'm not trying.
No, the Grand Canyon's even on my bucket list, but I'm not even going to walk out on the little glass platform. No, thank you.
No, the only thing I ever wanted to do at the Grand Canyon was ride the donkeys. How they say you can ride the donkeys going down it. That's the only kind of, if I ever tried to break my fear, that would be the one thing is sitting on the donkey and they bring you all the way down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon that they say, you got to sit still on it because you're literally on the side of a mountain as you're going down.
Yeah.
That, don't be scared because you can veer it off and you can fall off the side with the donkey. But those things are trained to stay right on that path.
That would be me, though. I would definitely, Jess is right. I would be the guy that looks over the edge. You're reading about it on the news.
I thought you were going to say you're the donkey, you're the ass. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I would ride you all the way down the mountain.
Let's see here. One comment, just hearts right there from Caprice. All right, let's see here. Are you afraid of the process or the result?
Hmm. The process. The older I get, it's more the process. And that might just be because I'm extremely worn out as of late.
I want to say for me, it's not the process, it's more the result of a lot of times what I have in my mind of what I'm trying to accomplish and what I'm able to accomplish. Sometimes it's not the same. So I always feel like I want the goal that I have set, I want to get to it. So I'm worried about the result, that it's not going to come out right, or I'm going to, like I said, fall flat on my face and have to do it again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a little bit of both, I would have to say.
I don't. I don't think the process is. Excuse me. I like hard work. I like putting in the work. I feel like it's the journey. It's depending on what you're trying to accomplish, right? Like whatever your fear is. But I feel like when you put the work in, the journey is that much better. Like or I'm sorry, the victory is that much better because of the journey that got you there. And so the process doesn't necessarily scare me. um I'd say the result more so because of failing, like especially thinking about a race. I when I did the Chicago Ultra, which was 50 miles, the first time I did it, I quit. I called my dad. It was cold. It was raining. I wasn't quite prepared. I got really humbled, and I called him and I quit. And I DNF'd. DNF did not finish, and it ate away at me. Talk about depressing. Like I got depressed about that. I think I touched on that last month, and but I went back and I did it. Back in 2021. Yeah, it was 2021. And it was like crossing that finish line, knowing, like Joe was saying, even I failed, but I didn't quit. And, it took me, whether it's 6 years to do it, I still did it. And so, like, it was a scary result thinking about not being able to finish it. But when you put the work in, I feel like if you're prepared, you shouldn't be as afraid. Like if you put the work in for something, you should be prepared for the result. You should know what you're going to get out of it if you practice and do what you know you should be doing. If you're unprepared for anything, you're going to get your ass kicked. That's just life. And if you don't put the work in. And so, yeah, I think in a way it's kind of the result.
Yeah.
Okay, let's cross this one off the list here and go to the next question then. And we'll let Joe take this one first. How has fear prevented you from being a dong? What is important to you? How has fear prevented you from doing what is important to you? Jeez, let me take that.
What has fear done? Say that again.
Okay, right here. I got it. I've updated it. How has fear prevented you from doing what is important to you?
Trying to think. I was gonna say fear really hasn't. A lot of times the only thing that it prevents is a lot of times I work too long on the process to get the result. So a lot of times I feel like anything I fear about failing or not doing enough or being enough, that I dwell too much on the process to get to that point, that I feel like I go sometimes over the top on making sure I don't fail. And a lot of times it's time wasted, if that makes any sense.
It does.
So a lot of times I feel like I waste a lot of time on the process to get the result. And sometimes I feel like I have to veer towards other ways to worry about. It's like they say with anything in life, you're spinning a lot of plates. And sometimes you can't worry about one plate too much and you have to constantly worry about other things. And sometimes I worry too much on processes of one thing when I should be concentrating on others. So a lot of times that's my issue that I feel.
Nikki, how about you?
Oh, his fear prevented you from doing what is important to you. Basically just my fear of going to the doctor probably prolonged me finding all this out. So yeah, I probably didn't realize how important staying alive is based on the fear of just finding out that something was wrong. So
I was right after you said that, I was gonna say that's something that was big with me, that until I almost lost my foot last year, I didn't go to the doctors for 13 years. I looked at it as I'm fine. And a lot of it had to just be the whole, you know, I I lived I lived day by day, not looking at the future. So I looked at it as long as I wake up every morning, I'm healthy.
right.
So so I never I was always scared to death of doctors. After my motorcycle accident, doctors scared the hell out of me.
I just don't like the medical system. I don't like the pharmaceutical companies. I don't like any of that. So just to submit to that part of this matrix we have to live in bothers me. But if I wouldn't have waited 30 years to, find out what was wrong, maybe it wouldn't have been wrong. So
Yeah, that and I don't like, now that I'm diabetic, I have to take medicine, but even before, like when I had my accident or anything happened, I never took any kind of over the counter. I took like Tylenol and stuff like that, but like when I had my accident, I had Percocets and morphine needles at the house and everything else. I never took them. I muscled through the pain and I dealt with it I because of my dad being a bad drug addict. I always worried about, I never wanted to end up like him. So I was always scared to take anything over Tylenol because I always felt like something's going to happen to me because it's
yeah,
in my blood. So whenever, they gave me anything like that, a lot of times I never even filled out the prescription, or I filled it out, brought it here, and I muscled through the pain and dealt with the pain and just threw it away just because I was always scared. That was another thing I always feared of ending up like my dad.
Mm.
That was always a big thing because, some people want to be like their parents, but me, no, not at all.
I always wanted to be like my dad.
Not me. I wanted to be nothing like him.
No, Joe, I
just
think
wanted
if
to
I
be
showed you,
independent of my parents.
I think if I showed you, Joe, my list of fears, a lot of them would be so relatable to you. Like
Probably.
I think a lot of them, because like the whole letting everyone down thing, I got one of them, and I know you could relate to this, feeling like a mistake.
I said that earlier.
Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
because, like I said, my mom left when I was 4 months old. My dad left when I was 5, but sometimes I feel like I pushed him away because, like I told in the last thing, he brought me out for my 5-year-old birthday, and I kicked him in the shin and started punching him because he pushed my mother away. But so I always felt like I was a mistake just for the sole purpose of they both left me. So that was always a big crutch that I dealt with for my whole life just because of that. So, you know, the reason why I lived how I did, and I said, about kids and everything, it's like I felt like with me, because of how I grew up, I looked at it as I just wanted to break the cycle of the family tree. And I felt like if I was the last branch in that tree, it wouldn't go any further. Or I had to change myself. If the tree was going to extend, I had to change myself so drastically from how my family was. So, you know, I always feared, that was a big fear of mine, of just being a mistake.
Yeah, I can. I write that, and I wrote that in particular because, and it's just how I feel. Okay, so I've had Caprice will message me like, okay, so I'll talk about, we talked about words of affirmation and encouraging men and also your partner, spouse, whatever, friends, family, mother, daughter, sister, just letting them know that they matter, things like that. Caprice and I are good friends. We'll talk about, like, she ran a half marathon, things like that. So I told her I was proud of her. She's told me she's proud of me, right? I've had people tell me that before. Here's the thing. I think sometimes somebody could tell you something, but it doesn't mean you believe it about yourself. And for me, actually wrote down right here. So I wrote, hating the man I see in the mirror is a fear. And I think when I hear people tell you, hey, I'm proud of you, I want to get to a point where I'm proud of myself, where I could look at myself in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? Good job. Like, I don't hate who I see. I want to get to the point, and I'm still not there, where I don't hate the person I see staring back at me in the mirror. And I'm getting there. I'm getting there. It's getting better, through looking better and not hating, having man boobs or something like that. So, but and I think on top of, like, how fear has prevented me from doing what is important to me, it paralyzes you, and it makes you scared. And when I think of, to backtrack on what I was saying, that's, I get to my mind, it's just how it goes. But I think of my mom and my dad, and I think of, like, the fact that I don't talk about it a whole lot, but I do DoorDash and Uber Eats right now. I was a personal trainer, went to school for all that. My sister's got 3 kids. My other sister works her ass off. She's pretty successful. She just texted me a little bit ago and asked me to pick her up food, as a matter of fact. So maybe after the stream, I'll go pick her up food. But I'm trying to have a better relationship with my sisters, and especially my older sister, who I don't have the best relationship with. But my point is, when I think of my sisters, I think of my mom being proud of them, and I haven't given my parents a reason to be proud of me yet. And some people say, oh, Nikki, we've talked about this, hate, like, being mean to yourself versus being critical. I think I'm critical, but I think for good reason. I think I think when I give those reasons of why I'm critical, it makes sense to me, at least. I don't think I'm being hurtful towards myself. I think I'm being honest. And with that honesty, though, you need to put a plan into action of how you're going to attack those to get to the, Caprice asked me, what is it going to take to make you happy? Like, to make you happy again and look at yourself in the mirror. And I think it's a great question. I think it was Caprice who asked me that, but somebody did. And I thought it was an incredible question. I know Vinicio actually asked me that question once. He asked me, how are you going to get to that place? Because I was telling him, I'm just like, I'm not there. I'm trying to get to a place. And he asked me that. And I think it's a fair question. I think it's a great question to ask people. Like, okay, you've identified that as a problem. Now, how are you going to attack the problem? How are you going to make yourself happy again? How are you going to become the person that you see in the mirror and be happy with that person? So I'm trying now to figure that out. And I put goals, but I'm not accomplishing those goals yet. And I feel like I need to, and need to be accountable with myself and get on top of that. And there's certain things that I know can help with that. And that was long-winded. Sorry.
We all jump on our soapboxes.
Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it.
All right, last question here. I got one comment right here. It's from Prince. Really, Bob, you're not into tennis that much? Not even into Maria Sharapova? No, I think she's beautiful. I don't watch tennis though, not really. All right, can you share a time when fear taught you an important lesson about yourself?
I need to think about that one for a second. So if somebody wants to
Well,
go
you need
before
to
me,
give us these questions ahead of the stream so we have time to think.
no,
You guys said you didn't want those questions
I didn't want them before.
because you thought it would be more genuine.
What
They're
I was
talking.
gonna say, what I was gonna say
At
was
this point, I want to make them thought-provoking questions, of course.
I was gonna say that the thing that my fear taught me was I feel like anything that I put my mind to it, I can accomplish to a certain extent. Not, I won't say I could be president or something like that, but with any, what my fear taught me was if I put my mind to things and set goals for myself, I can accomplish it with enough drive and determination. And that's a lot of things that I've learned throughout my life with a lot of things. It just comes down to, having that drive and determination that I've learned a lot for myself of. There's a lot there's a lot I've can accomplish or that I have accomplished because of what, what I've done. Because, like I've said before, I grew up dirt poor on, with my, I remember when I was a kid getting Toys for Tots kids and Salvation Army kids in a black plastic bag underneath our tree when I was a kid, because that's how poor I was. But I looked at it as with enough drive and determination and the fear of the unknown. If you're willing to put the effort in and the work into it, you can accomplish whatever you want as long as you're willing to sacrifice for it. And that's why a lot of times when people feel like, boo-hoo, I didn't get this, or why do people have more than that? It just comes down to, you have to put in the work and you have to be willing to sacrifice. So that's the one thing that I learned from my fear is putting in that work to accomplish it. And like I've said before, I don't have a ton of stuff of what I have. I've always been grateful for what I have. I never needed anything. I've never needed everything in life. I just want to be happy with what I have.
Right. You've talked to me about speaking about being grateful for what you have and you don't really need a whole lot. You've talked about if you lost your entire collection, you're okay with that. It's not, you don't.
Yeah. No, like I just said, I grew up dirt poor with nothing. I don't let anything that's, I forgot, I don't know what that word is. Anything that's
materialistic.
I don't let materialistic things, determine who I am or what I am. That, I've sold my collection many times, and I'm willing to do it again if I have to, for any reason. I've grown up poor with nothing, and I've bought in everything that I have because, like most people, when you grow up with nothing, when you get older and you have, money that you don't really need, you buy stuff to have things that you wanted when you were a kid that you looked at, or you wanted to be able to buy whatever you wanted because you couldn't do that when you were younger. So that's what I did. Or sometimes I bought things. It's like people say, you get those endorphins of when you're depressed, you buy stuff to make yourself get that quick high of, I feel better because I just bought this. But once you buy it and you open it, it goes away, and then you're chasing that next high of for buying more. So, sometimes I always felt like my collection shows how depressed I was. You know what I mean? Because of how big my collection is. But I've never I'm willing to get rid of everything I have, and to and I don't let that hold me back in a long soapbox standing kind of way. How I just said it.
Nah, it's funny because we talked about this when we first went live, the four of us last month. Like, one of the things we wanted to do was let each other have our moment, and I feel like we do such a good job of that, which is rare for me, and I feel like Joe, because we're so good at interrupting.
I know. Trust me. You don't. I feel like watching Fall again because whenever you and Nikki are talking, I'm grabbing. I'm going. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah. I guess I'll share. Can you share a time when fear taught you an important lesson about yourself? Yeah, for sure. I mean, every time I run those races, it's scary. It's a 5K isn't so scary, you know what I mean? But like I'm competitive. I don't just go out there just to finish. Like, I want to do well. Unless it's certain races, like running a 50-mile ultra marathon, I just want to finish that. So that was a time that fear taught me like what is possible, what I'm capable of when I put my mind to something, when I try something that's not easy, that's hard. So when I face the fears, it's taught me that by facing my fears, what I can accomplish is like limitless. And if I don't let the fears stop me. So, doing the 26-mile race with 100 obstacles. I talked about it last time, but like that's scary. That was tough. It was hard to be able to face the last lap and be able to do it. Like, it taught me so much about who I am as a person, what I'm capable of. Like, how much more is out there if you don't let your fears stop you, is kind of what that has taught me. Like, what else can you accomplish if you don't let it stop you? That's kind of, to answer that question, that would be my answer.
I was gonna say really quick. That's the one thing, and it's not really. It's a regret of mine, and it's a little bit of something that you talked about, and it's some reason is one thing that I used to do, and I said I'm not sure if I said it on a stream or I've talked, you know, like behind the scenes. Because of how I grew up, I never wanted any kids to grow up like me. So when I was younger, I did a lot of like Easter. I did stuff for Easter seals that I used to do like 5Ks, or I did Easter. I did a merchandise volleyball game. That's where I tore my ACL and my meniscus because I did it on a basketball court. And I used to donate money to Shriners that used to come out of my paycheck. I've gone to Shriners in Springfield, Mass, and spent time with kids that were burn victims and did stuff there. And those are the things that I miss that I can't do anymore because I don't have the time. So those are that stuff that just really hurts that I can't spend that time with kids like I used to. So
Nikki, how about you?
If I could think of a time when I was any more scared than I am right now, I can't think of that right this minute. I feel like I'm probably about to go through my hardest lessons. So
You're
I
about
don't
to,
know.
yeah. Fear's going to teach you that lesson, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the worst part is when we first started talking about, it's probably just a surgery and take all the things out, and I thought it was just going to be a little laparoscopic surgery, no big deal. But no, they're gonna give me a horrible wound, and it's going to be a long recovery, and I'm going to be in pain like I've never been in before. So I don't know. I don't know what that's going to teach me about myself, other than I'm gonna come out the other side and hopefully be stronger for it. So
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you got a lot of people thinking about you in your corner, praying for you, things like that. So,
now that I finally got all the important people told.
ones in the stream, yeah. Nikki, I completely understand. Capri says.
Thank you.
I think if I lost my collection, it might actually be a relief in some aspects. I think about that. I've sold my collection before, and I said I was never going to go back to it, and then I did. But I'm telling you, not having a TV plays a big factor. Joe was talking about that with me today. It absolutely does. At first, it didn't. I have the TV. It's just broken. I just haven't had a desire to go out. I just think there's more important things than a TV right now for me. And as crazy as that sounds, but it's just like dissipated the love of physical media for me. Even staring at this right now, like looking at it, I just I don't know. I don't know if that joy, that extreme passion will come back or not. I don't know. I don't feel a like a fear of missing out. I don't feel that anymore. I don't get butt hurt or hurt by missing out on a movie or this or that. And there's some really cool stuff that comes out. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to get The Descent on 4K, and I think they announced something today. I saw it was up for pre-order on Amazon. What was it? It was Southpaw 4K, the Steelbook that Lionsgate's putting out. So like stuff like that is really cool. I'd love to get. But I even bought that Nightmare on Elm Street 4K set. I haven't even opened it yet. And it's not because I'm still an inbox collector. I'm okay with opening it. I bought it and I haven't opened it yet.
And those movies are ass anyway, so you're not missing out.
But I don't know. I just haven't had that, like, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, looking around at my collection right now, I can't think of, because a lot of the newer movies I'm not as into. They're too woke, or they're just too they're too PC, or they just been there, kind of done that. They don't really affect me that much like older films, but I'm looking around my collection. There's nothing that would really come out in any kind of fancy packaging or an upgrade that I'm like, ooh, I have to have. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I think the last time I was excited about anything was the Rad 4Ks that I have.
You know what's crazy? Like, I don't know if this is gonna make sense. I think this is part of being an adult and growing up too, though, is realizing what's important, and not to be disrespectful to anybody in the chat, because physical media is our love and everything like that. And I'm not disrespecting physical media saying this, but I just have started to realize more that there's more important things than physical media. Like, I have more important things that I want to accomplish, like whether that's savings accounts and, just being in a better place financially, as opposed to having to buy this or that movie. It is not worth going into debt and struggling and pushing yourself and doing all these things to buy every movie when you just can't do it. And I think part of that is being an adult. Discipline is another part of it, but also is this might sound weird, and it might hurt some people when I say this. Sometimes not pushing people out of your life, but understanding it's okay to not have to follow everyone's Instagram page or see what everybody's buying. If that's going to be a trigger or harm your recovery with that, or getting you to where you want to be, that's okay to not block people or necessarily, but to shut that out. And that's why I take breaks from social media, and it helps a lot when I do decide to do that. Not only that, like I've hidden so many people's stories and stuff from my channel just because I can't, for me and my personal like health, I don't want to see everybody posting stuff all the damn time, what they got in, what this, that, and oh, what the studio sent me. I don't have a desire for that. It's different for everybody, you know, and some people love seeing that stuff, you know, when the studio sends you stuff, you got to put it out there and all that stuff. And I understand it. I'm not picking on people for doing it. It's great to get stuff sent to you, free stuff. But for me, I also understand, like, if I'm trying to work on myself and I don't want to get beat up on missing out on something, I don't need to see that all the time. I
It's
don't
like
know.
rubbing salt in the wound.
Yeah, you know, how many people, I didn't post the Nightmare on Elm Street set, but how many people, Joe, Nikki, you guys are on Instagram, how many people posted that set?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot. And don't get me wrong, it's Instagram, we're in a physical media community, so it makes sense. I'm not picking on people, okay? It makes complete sense. But if you're somebody who is trying to, maybe you wanted it but couldn't afford it, that's probably gonna mess with you a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you said, whoever said the rubbing salt in the wound, it's almost like that. I couldn't afford it, but I wanted it. And, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people like that. And so I think part of it is why I don't post much anymore, but I don't have a desire. I'm also not picking stuff up as much. But here's the thing for me, and maybe that's why I don't talk to as many people anymore, because, dare I say, this might sound shitty to some people, but maybe once I stopped collecting physical media as much, people didn't give a shit as much, I guess, or didn't have a reason to keep talking to me. Just saying, and part of that is me shutting people out too, but I also think that sometimes you're only as good to people as like what you can give them or what you offer. And my group is pretty damn small nowadays. And when I call Joe and I talk to him and I'm talking to Adam, I don't know where that guy's brain goes. It's everywhere. But when I'm talking to Adam, we don't always talk physical media. Nikki and I, we talk on the phone. I don't think we ever talk physical media. We talk movies. We
Well,
don't
it used to start out talking about movies, but then it always got into talk
movies.
like this.
Yes, but physical media, I feel like we never talk about it anymore.
No, I don't. Well, and I won't say I don't buy movies, because I do. And I won't say I don't have a lot, because I'm back up over like 1,100 now or something, but it's not important. I mean, having it physically to me is, I'd rather have my TV shows physically, to be honest,
Yeah.
because I don't like to pay for the streaming services and I like TV shows. So, and eventually your movies will stream on all the free places. So,
Yeah, I just I love physical media and I'm still trying to, you know, but I think for me I realized, I guess, until I get to a better place or the place I want to be, I'm not going to focus on collecting physical media. Am I in a terrible place? No, I'm not. I mean, I'm also not in the place I want to be. Actually, shout out to my dad. I'm dealing with car problems right now, and I drive for DoorDash and Uber Eats, so I've been putting money into a rental car to keep driving. My dad's giving me his car. Granted, it's got a lot of miles on it, but he's just going to give me his car so I don't have to keep putting money into a rental car. So that's pretty awesome. You know, it's not a brand new car by any stretch of the imagination, but it's saving me money, so that's huge. And I guess that's what, you know, fathers do for their kids and parents do for their kids, moms and all that stuff. So you know, yeah, so I'm grateful for my dad. And yeah, even when I was we're talking about changing negatives into a positive, even when I was paying for the rental and I was having car problems, I looked at it like, I'm grateful to have the ability to rent a car. So instead of dwelling on, oh, I don't have a car, my car's problems, I got to pay for this, I got to pay for that, I flipped it into, I'm grateful to have a rental car that I can afford, and it's awesome. It runs great and everything like that. So I think, you know, just learning when to flip things, yeah, is important. I'm either putting Joe to sleep or he's just listening. It's one of the two. You guys,
I'm just listening.
You guys have done a great job not interrupting each other. So success on your efforts.
And that's why, like I said, I'm very quiet, but I'm trying not to interrupt and let everybody talk.
Thank you, Caprice. I appreciate it. It's nice. Okay, it is nice when your efforts go noticed, right? When your hard work goes, like when people notice your hard work, it's nice. There's Jeff. Look at that. You're 2 hours late, Jeff.
Yeah, you're
Hey,
real
Jeff.
late, Jeff.
Yeah, we're just done. Anthony says, I do really enjoy my specialty editions of movies and hanging out with people in their physical media in this physical media community, but it's okay to buy just a basic bitch Blu-ray and save some cash. That's true too. Who was I talking to recently about that, Anthony? I don't know who it was, but it was somebody talking about like I'm okay with just a Blu-ray. I think it was my buddy Ben, and we were talking about. He lives in Canada. We were talking about like physical media in the way it is now. It's geared towards so many collectors and like the posters and the booklets, and we've talked about
Yeah.
what you got to have with it. And he's like, I really just want the movie. He's like, I just want the Blu-ray. And
Yeah.
I think that's okay. I think what Anthony said is a good point. That you don't,
Well, my problem is that I would go out and buy all the steel books because I really like the steel books. So but I know I don't make that kind of money anymore. So yeah, I'm not going to get myself in that kind of trouble, and I'll just stream the movies and buy my TV shows. I mean, I
Yeah.
have bought a few recent movies, but we had movies on sale 50% off at my store a couple of weeks back, and I bought like Just Mercy for, I don't know,
well, the one with
$3. So
the one with Jamie Foxx,
yes,
yeah, and Michael B. Jordan,
yes,
yeah.
and I think I paid $3 for it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Brand new on Blu-ray.
Because that's what I was just gonna say. It's like, perfect example. Sleepy Hollow Steelbook, still sealed, 4K. I don't, a lot of my 4Ks, I never watch it. Starman 4K Steelbook, still sealed. Don't even open it. I have Starman on Blu-ray. I have Starman on VHS. I'd rather watch it that way. 4K, I'll never open it. I never watch 4K editions. I have Scream Steelbooks all right there, all still sealed. Somebody gave me crap on the last stream I was on about why do you own 4Ks if you don't watch them? I don't know.
I think it's
I have an issue.
When people, I don't want to I think
He's just I have an issue.
Yeah.
When people say like they'll comment, and I think sometimes it's trolls, sometimes it's legit questions, sometimes it's trolls who ask legit questions. I don't know. I mean, but when people are like, why do you collect why do you, they'll, sometimes people will comment on your old videos and people will be like, wow, do you watch any of your movies? Or why do you collect it if you're not going to open it or something like that? Kind of like what Joe was just talking about. I think they're fair questions. I think they're actually great questions that people ask. And I don't think it's being a troll at all.
No.
Even if they're attempting to be. I think it's a really fair question. And a lot of it is like, I think they're in the right actually more than I am. I started to ask myself more and more. I look at my Kino Lorber shelf right there. I'm like, I haven't seen 80% of those. And when I did that Kino Lorber video or my shop,
I laughed.
We're just like, oh, I own this. I haven't seen it. It's like, what,
Or you're like, I'll never watch this.
Right.
And I'm like,
it's crazy. Why are you buying that? Well,
I want to reach to the screen and smack you.
Like Joe said, I have a problem.
Yeah.
But I'm fixing that problem now. And I think that's why I respect collectors like Ellie and Anthony. When they moved in, they collaborated their collection together, combined their collection, and then they sold a lot of stuff that they didn't feel like they needed. I think that's a great idea. And I did that recently, and I still feel like there's so much more though. So one of the progresses I've made is I don't feel the need to buy a movie 7 times like I used to, or have 12 copies of it or 6 copies. I'm pretty okay with having one. I also am not into numbered spines the way I used to be. I've sold a lot of those collections and all that. So
I'll say the only thing, and I mentioned on the last stream I was on is, even though you know, people almost lost their ass when I said this. I've never watched. I own over a couple of hundred 4Ks. To this day, I've never watched anything on 4K, and I have 4K players. I have a 4K region free player that I got from somebody.
What are you doing with that? I sent you that.
It's still in the box in my closet. I have 4K TVs, and I've never watched the 4K. I stick to my Blu-rays. I watch the DVDs or I watch the VHS. 4K, fuck all 4K. I really don't care. That's why they're all sealed. But it's just like I don't really care. I'm not. I grew up on watching stuff on VHS and CEDs. I had a CED player, and cruising was that and The Man with Two Brains were my first CEDs that I ever owned. You know, listen to the popping and cracking.
I love
thing.
it when the young. I love it when the young kids complain about commercials. We didn't have a choice.
That or you know, dealing with tracking on the TV with the knobs and everything. It's just like with my 13 channels I had. So 4K, I don't really care. So like I said, I have 4K players and everything else, but to this day Marie has watched more 4Ks than I have. She's opened a couple of them and watched them. I'm happy with my Blu-rays. So it makes me laugh. I've never been a format person. It was one of the reasons why I stopped doing YouTube, because I just got tired of everybody with if it ain't 4K, it's no good. And why do you collect DVDs and blah blah blah? And I'm just like,
I think a lot of people.
I wasn't gonna sweat people.
A lot of people are judgmental, and it's not just about 4Ks. It could be so many different things, slip covers, right, so on and so forth. I think Tony does a very good job.
That's why I burnt them.
Yeah, Tony does a good job he collects everything, but I don't get. Tony's not a judgmental person. He doesn't sit there and judge you, even though he's like a steelbook guy or he loves the slip covers. He doesn't even let people beat him up about it. If people try to give him crap, he's okay with that, you know.
Well, see, if I had the means to do what Tony did, I would have a steelbook wall myself. So that's why I said I like the aesthetics of the steelbooks. Most of them, they have great artwork.
They're so frustrating because of damage, though.
Well, that was the one thing that I said before, and with me having no wall space, there was a guy a long time ago, and I think Steelbook Obsessed started doing it. But there was a guy called Wilsonian Museum that used to do videos that used to collect nothing but high-end stuff. But he literally had a wall with magnets on the wall that he glued, and he used to change out steelbooks on it. And he had a wall of steelbooks and it looked like artwork. I'm like, if I had a wall, since a lot of my steelbooks are sealed, I would just constantly change steelbooks because I just loved looking at the artwork. I didn't care about opening them. I just liked looking at a lot of my steelbooks. I don't even know what the back even looks like because I've never seen them. I've watched videos to watch people unbox them just to see what the back artwork was. And we totally went off topic, but I don't know how we got into movies.
Yeah, well, yeah. We got Anthony saying, "I love listening to all of you speak. Lots of great insight and wisdom." You know,
I think it was Anthony's fault when he brought up collecting special editions. Thanks a lot, Anthony.
As much as I would love to blame Anthony, I have to blame myself. I'm the one who started it. I did.
Yeah.
Sit here and blame Anthony, but
he piggybacked on you.
Yeah, Anthony contributed to it. Nice seeing you guys again. Movie Warehouse says, "Hey, it's good seeing you too, man. It's nice to see you hanging out. I appreciate it." We've got Hey Jeff, blah blah blah. What's up, Caprice? I did want to actually touch on a little bit too. In just a second here, let me finish catching up with the chat. We got Jeff here says, "I told someone one time I don't need the 4K. I have the 3D. Laugh out loud. I know Joe gets tits, or Joe gets it.
Yeah. I love 3D.
My steals are sealed too, just collectibles to me. If I like this movie, I'll have it on Blu-ray. I do know one movie he couldn't keep sealed, and it's Uncharted. Sorry, because there was a necklace that came with it, and he couldn't keep it sealed because they put a necklace under the shrink wrap. Not a big 4K fan. I'm quite happy with my blues. My PS5 will probably play my 10 4Ks, but I'll watch a VHS before I ever watch a 4K, Just says. Anthony says, Alan and I upgraded so many DVD titles to Blu-ray by trading in our extra movies to disc replay for stored credit. We also gave away a lot of titles back to the community, which is awesome, giving back for sure. Anytime, Joe. Anytime. Yeah, that's it. I did want to touch on one thing though. Recently, probably less than a week or two ago, we lost one of our own in the community. Caveman. People probably know him as Guy or Caveman. Anthony and Allie were really good friends with him. He passed away. I don't exactly know how, but it got
Val
me.
said it was heart related.
Heart related. It got me thinking a little bit about that. There was and it's been on my mind. Like talking about treating people with kindness, and Nikki always talks about that. When I was struggling and I was going through my depression, and I was shutting people out. It was right around the time I was going to take a break from Instagram, and I don't need to share this, but I will. And I recently pulled it up because Guy, he's not far down on my Instagram messages, not far at all, because we had just talked not too long ago. But back in June, he was asking me about the watch list. What did I just watch stream that I used to do? And because he gave me a what did I just watch stream. And he gave me a list, I should say, of 10 movies to watch. And I had watched a couple of them, but then I had taken a break from social media and I was just like, I was done. And he reached out back in June and he was just asking me about, hey, how's it going? Because Guy had a wicked sense of humor, but he was kind. He was always kind, always a nice guy. And that's one thing you could say about him. And he reached out on Instagram and he was messaging me and just asked me, hey, have you watched the movies? And I was so in my own world and in my own struggle, I just didn't want to talk to anybody. And I was almost like thinking to myself, like, he's bothering me in a way. But he said, have you watched all of my recommendations yet? And I said, nope, a few, I believe. I don't really focus on streaming anymore at the time. And he was just like, I'm not asking you to do a live stream or anything. I put a lot of thought into my recommendations, which is fair. And I replied, like, I've only watched the one so far. It's not something that is on my mind, and so on and so forth. I'll get to them when I get to them, I said. And I said, sorry. And he said, I'm sorry if you need to talk, I'm here. And I said, no, thanks. And he wasn't the only person I was shutting out. But I when he passed, like, I started thinking about that conversation I had with him, and I was just like, he reached out. He was trying to be a friend, and I wasn't like a complete asshole, but I think to myself, I'm like,
You pushed him away.
Yeah, I pushed him away for sure.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, and I just wasn't nice. Like, I was in my own world. I'm struggling, like, leave me alone kind of attitude. And I just think that's why it's so important to not take things for granted, people especially. But also be kind, because you never know when your like last conversation is going to be with somebody and how it will be. That wasn't my last time talking to him, but he just, I look back on that, and
I was gonna say that this is the second person that I on Instagram that I've talked to that, I've talked to Caveman a couple times. Since we were on streams together, and I've talked to him, and like I said, it hit me when he died, and then I think it was like 4 years back, maybe 5 years back, there was a guy on Instagram that I was really close to that back when I first started YouTube, every video he used to comment, every sale he used to send me links to it, and his name was James Morgan Jr., if anybody in the chat knows who he is.
I don't.
And one day I was talking with somebody and we're like, hey, we haven't heard from him. And we messaged him nothing. And then we actually looked, we knew where he lived. He lived in North Carolina, and we actually typed his name in the obituaries, and we found his obituary because we automatically thought the worst and we didn't know what happened to him. We actually looked it up, and that one was like the first time I lost somebody that was like an IG friend. And even with Guy, it was kind of sad.
Yeah, and we lost Rich before that. That
Yeah.
was
Oh yeah, that's right as well.
I don't think 4K Lowdown was his name.
Yeah, 4K Lowdown.
I don't think it was his username. I'm sorry. I don't think it was this. Was it last year or this
Yeah.
year? Yes. It was last year, correct?
Yeah, it was last year.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's 2 people in less than a calendar year, though, I'm pretty sure, like less than 12 months, and that we've lost in the community. And I just think it's important. He had cancer, so he was not doing well and everything like that. But I just think it's so important to like not take things for granted, even just spread kindness. And Guy did that. He reached out. He was caring. He was always funny, had his jokes, but he was a good guy. And rest in peace, Guy. The movie Hunter says already misses dad jokes. Love you, Guy. You are so missed already. Jeff says rest in peace, Guy. Man, it was crazy hearing that Guy passed away. Rest in peace, Caveman. His daily jokes were legendary. Guy said something to me once that I randomly hear from time to time. Words I'll never forget. Well, what did he say? Yeah, what did he say, Jeff?
When
you're here late too, you're fired.
Well, I was gonna say, when you mentioned Guy, especially because he was a funny guy, and he would probably laugh at what I'm gonna say. I thought you were gonna say how he gave you a list, and you're still gonna do the list and give him worse ratings than Jeff's.
That'd be a good stream.
You're gonna bash Guy's movies worse than Jeff's as a remembrance.
Yeah. It's funny. I thought about that, like his list and finishing it and the movies he gave, and even just doing a solo stream to talk about it. But I did watch one of them. I started his list and then I just got away from it. But like when I look back, I was kind of reading as Joe was talking a little bit there. I was just basically saying, like, I have so many watch lists, I'm not worried about them right now. Like, because I was struggling. This was when I didn't have a care about streaming at all. And I was just like, I really shut him out. And I wasn't like an asshole. I said sorry and I was just honest. But yeah, I think Bob bashed mine worse than anyone's. Yeah, Caprice got it the worst. Yeah, she did.
She was a keeper, though.
I was gonna say she got it pretty bad, but that Kung Pao that Jeff did, that you destroyed him on that one.
Johnny, what were you watching that was more important than this stream? I love it. Yes, he was on a stream with Jeff. They're both cheating on me and Joe and Nikki. Can you believe that? I think Bob bashed my worst. Yep. He told me not to rush my kids growing up. I used to make little jokes about when the kids moved out. He said I was a great father. He wished he had that. And my kids will love the fact I took the time to enjoy them growing up. And I saw a reel today. Speaking of Jeff, it was a person like had their hands on their baby's hands, and then it was like it just fast forwarded to their hands being grown up, like and it was the same. And I was like, it there was no faces. It was just the hands, but it like hit me too because I don't have any kids, and Joe does, and Nikki does, so I always feel like I'm. So I apologize for talking about kids and all that stuff, but I can only share on my experience with my nieces and nephews, and I still, even though I don't have kids myself, I get to see it, and they grow up so fast. They do, and we're taught as kids too. When we were kids, we always heard it like enjoy it while it lasts. You know, high school flies by, time flies by, things like that. You know, these kids, all we want to do is get older and pay. You know, we don't realize like we should have enjoyed it, especially back then, because it's a little different now. You know, for kids than it was back then. We got to play outside and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
There was
I,
no.
I was gonna say Maria said that to me a couple times. 'Cause I'm like, ugh, because my son's only 8. I'm like, 8 more years, he's gonna be asking for the keys to the car. She goes, slow down, Joe. He's not he's not you know, he's only 8 years old. You're already sending him off to college.
Yeah.
And
I'm
in
just
8
like,
years, when that happens, you're gonna look back and go, "Wow, that was fast."
yeah,
Yeah, it goes by way too fast. I told
yeah,
my husband recently that this all goes way too fast for me because I still want my kids little, and the grandkids are almost out overgrown me by now. So yeah, it's way fast.
hmm
You know, and Guy always wanted. I don't know if it would have happened on the next one, but I know Guy wanted to be a part of the Tennessee trip. You know, he
Mhm.
wanted to be a part of that. I'm afraid that I hurt Johnny's feelings when I said you're fired because he hasn't said anything since then. Sorry, Johnny, if you're still there. Um, you're not actually fired, Johnny. I agree. I missed those early years and wish I didn't work so much. Yeah, they talk about that
Mhm.
their life balance with the family and everything. I mean, how many movies do they make about like where we see it? Speaking of what Movie Hunter said right there, like where you see the parents always like, I wish if I could take one thing back, it would have been work. Like family comes before my job. Like family comes before work. And as a man and as a woman, you got to provide. You got kids. You got to feed. You know that. Joe knows that. But
yeah,
your family does come first, and you need to spend time with them. So I get where
yeah.
he's coming from with that.
But
Yeah,
you know, it's like that. A lot of times, what they say is, you have time, you have plenty of time and no money, or you have plenty of money and no time.
that's it.
So
I've
it's
heard somebody
you
say
know,
like we work our whole lives only to die afterwards. Like
yeah,
we work and then we retire, but by the time we retire, we're sick or we're injured. We can't even walk anymore. Like we have all these things, and some people get to retire earlier than others without injuries or something
yeah.
like that, but some people don't.
I was gonna say I knew somebody he that was probably like 8 years ago, but he retired in February, decided to sell his house in Massachusetts, moved to South Carolina to warmer weather. In the July of the same year, he fell, broke his hip. By October, he was dead. He'd even last a full year retired. And it's like you worked all your life for that retirement. He didn't even last a year.
I hear a lot of people talk about like after they retire, get depressed or like there was a guy at the movie theater, a young kid. He's only like 21 years old. His dad passed away like 3 months after he retired, heart attack.
Yeah.
And I talk to so many men now that are retired and stuff, and they'll talk about how they have friends who got that like struggled too. And I think so many men are so used to a routine and waking up at the same time Monday through Friday, going to work, and then all of a sudden, in the flip of a switch, you're retired, and all of a sudden your whole life changes. And I'm sure that's such a shock to the system and so different for a man to be so used to waking up, going to work, providing, and then all of a sudden not having to do that anymore.
And that's what I've told people. I just had a guy that I've worked with for 34 years. He just retired last week. And I was talking to him about that. I'm like, your body's so used to getting up Monday through Friday, going to work, the exercise is just working. I'm like, once you retire, you can't become a couch potato or sit in that recliner all day and do nothing. You still got to wake up with a purpose, get some exercise, do something. I'm like, because that's when you're going to start falling apart and that's when you're going to die. You,
I
you,
think
you,
that's
you,
true.
you, even though you're at home, you still have to have that work mindset and wake up with some type of a purpose, or, you're just going to rot away
Hmm.
because your body's not going to be used to it. It's
Uh,
like even with your dad, he works out and everything to keep himself in shape. If you decide to become a
Yeah, he's
lump
still,
of coal and grow roots on a couch, you're gonna die.
he's still. It's exactly it. Why he says I don't want to die. Like I'm not ready to die. So he works. He still delivers pizzas too. So he's retired. He's been retired for like 6-7 years. But he tells me he just doesn't know how to sit still. So he still delivers pizzas. And he told me as long as he could do it, he plans on working until he's 80. So he told me
Wow.
that he's okay with that, and it just keeps him young. So, I think he still does it 4 days. He's just delivering pizzas, so it's not like the strenuous job of being a roofer like he was, but still.
Yeah, I was gonna say Marie's mom is gonna be 68 and she's retired, but she works for the state now and she mows lawns. She got chainsaw certified cutting trees down at 67 years old. And it's just like, even though she's retired, she's still out there chainsawing and weed whacking and mowing and everything else for the state.
That's impressive. Okay. Before I finish this up, let me catch up with the chat and I'm going to get us out of here. Agree, I missed those early years and I wish I didn't work so much. That's great advice, Jeff. Guy was a wise man. Yeah, I still remember the day my buddy's son was born like it was yesterday. Now he is 17, Movie Warehouse says. He was a very wise man for sure, Anthony. I truly hope he knows how much we actually cared for him because when he was here, I don't think he realized it. In our youngest years, we sacrifice our health for money, and in our older years, we sacrifice our money for our health. This is very true.
That's very true.
Yeah. How you take care of yourself when you're young affects you later in life. I completely agree with that. Absolutely. Couldn't agree with that more, Jeff. Okay. All right. So our next stream is going to be who's ready to talk about insecurities. So we're going to be doing insecurities. We're going to talk about the movie She's Out of My League, which is a hilarious movie. I cannot wait to do it because I just look forward to rewatching that movie again. It's so funny. So usually most of these streams are very serious, which that'll still be a serious topic, insecurities. Trust me, I have plenty to say. But the movie's a comedy through and through. But there's a lot
Raunchy comedy.
Yeah, raunchy comedy, but there's good lessons to be had in there. Very good lessons, and you'll see if you don't know it. Watch the movie Hunter. Go out and watch the movie She's Out of My League. Jess, Caprice, Jeff, so on and so forth. Movie.
I'm thinking about the pool scene now, and everybody's faces. I always get a chuckle.
I like the scene when he's shaving his friend's balls. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Early
spoiler.
I'm sorry, Nikki, because you haven't seen it. You're gonna laugh.
I haven't seen that one.
That's why I just said pool scene. I didn't spoil nothing.
Well, that's a different scene he's talking about. But
I know
you're going to laugh your ass off watching that movie the whole time. And if you don't, well, then I just don't know if there's hope for you, Nikki.
I mean, I don't mind a good raunchy comedy. I just prefer stand-up comedy. That's all.
Okay. Well, this one's hilarious. Anthony and Ellie, I think.
I mean, wait, no, but you got to remember one of my very favorite movies, and Jeff doesn't like this movie as well as I do, but is The Last American Virgin. To me, it's hilarious.
I saw that movie in theaters when I was too young to see that movie in theaters.
Same.
I saw that with my grandfather.
Brian Goes Blue and Coco are big fans of that one, The Last American Virgin.
I love that movie so much.
Damn ending.
Yeah, when he walks into the kitchen and you see his face when he sees what he sees, and then he runs out of the house and he's in the car, and then Lionel Richie comes on. Oh man, pulls right at your heartstrings.
I love sad endings. Absolutely. I love when the guy doesn't always get the girl. I did not like the ending to that one, though. I wasn't a fan of it. Usually,
I love the ending of that film.
I like that one. But my question to you two is going to be, what do you want to do, the 18th or the 25th of November? Because the 25th is 2 days before Thanksgiving. The 18th is obviously 9 days before Thanksgiving. So
25th.
You just pick a day because I don't know what my schedule's going to be, to be honest.
Okay. All right. That's
tomorrow. will change my whole life. So
Yeah.
I don't know
I
what my schedule's going to be.
I was gonna say, like I said, for me, I think 25th, but it's up to you. It's your stream.
Yeah, I gotta talk to Benicio about it too, of course. But does that sound too close to Thanksgiving for you, Nikki, or is that not like as far as that goes? That's not a problem.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
Okay.
I was gonna say for me, it's not a problem. And the
Well,
next,
you gotta buy it then, Movie Hunter. You don't have it, you gotta buy it. There's no steelbook though; it's just a Blu-ray, no
Yeah.
slip or anything.
no, I can
Never
see it right
heard
here.
Never heard of that movie. Yeah,
What?
let's see if it's on Blu-ray.com and if it's cheap and still in print. Joe, do you know? Joe's got 12 copies. He's gonna send everyone in the chat one of them. Let's see here. She's out of my league. It is there. It is. I'm sure you could find it for cheap. We'll put it that way.
There it is, Blu-ray with no slip.
It's on Amazon for $18.99.
Holy Jesus! Really? Is that pesos?
Pesos.
Can my dog eat that? It's for a dog. Turner and Hooch.
She's out of my league on Blu-ray on eBay. It's probably like you could probably get it for $5 on eBay, $3 plus shipping. There's a bunch of $5 ones on eBay. How about a copy of Bambi?
I got 73 copies of it.
Wait, Jeff hasn't seen.
She's out of my league. Really?
Wow, Jeff. Wow. You should still be able to find it, Johnny says. Johnny's back. He's back again. Tell a friend. Oh, she's out of my league. I mean, the other movie, Last American Virgin. Oh, okay. He's seen that. Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, yeah. Let's. We'll either be doing the 18th or 25th. We'll try and figure it out. How about that? So no specific date, but that'll be the movie. So you people in the chat who want to watch and all that stuff, go and check out She's Out of My League, which is right there, and enjoy it because it's hilarious. Honestly, it's like a top 3 comedy for me of all time. Girl Next Door will always be the best, but it's a funny one. I never
Last American Virgin better.
cut my fat ass to the bone, Bob. Yeah,
Love you, Johnny.
we do.
Let me get my heart there. There we go.
I called Johnny while I was on the grocery store with him yesterday. And he's like, "Your fat ass doesn't need cookies. Get the fuck out of that aisle."
And I know which ones you were buying too. You went to Dollar General and you got those little
I was
wafer cookies, didn't you?
I was at Walmart. I
Peanut
did
butter
buy.
wafers.
I bought some of the Nutter Butters yesterday. The ones that Johnny taught me. I did, and Johnny's like, "You don't need those, you fat ass." And I was like, I couldn't find my damn seasoning I wanted though. They had no more Dano seasoning. Can you believe it, Caprice? I don't got Dano.
Bob wanted salty nuts in
Oh,
his
love you,
mouth. I
please.
figured.
No, I've been cooking a lot more or trying to, so I need my seasoning and I'm all out of it. So I need to go buy some more. I'm about to buy a custom big thick box for my Girl Next Door Blu-ray. Nice. Bob and his fucking shrimp and monster. I bought shrimp yesterday. No, I didn't buy shrimp. I bought salmon. He told me I didn't need shrimp because I already had it in my pants. Johnny said. I was like, freaking Johnny. But yeah, he was on the phone with me the whole time I was grocery shopping. And I went
Bob,
in there.
you need to get some of that blackened salmon.
I tried the blackened salmon before. It's awesome. It's really good. Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, it's excellent. I went to Aldi and I got their salmon, and I did not think it was nearly as good as the ones I get at Walmart. So
Okay, it's Aldi.
yeah, it wasn't very good. But they did have good Honey Crisp apples there. But yeah, I went in to spend like
that
$10.
might be equivalent to gas station sushi.
Yeah.
I went in to spend like $10 at Walmart, and I ended up spending $80 yesterday. That's how it goes, grocery shopping. So, but yeah, Johnny kept me company with his one-liners. Johnny's laughing. Let's see here. Too late. Just bought it on Amazon, third-party seller, but will be here by the first. Nice. Movie Hunter's watching it. Sweet. See?
Nice.
You know what? Look, I want to say something too really quick before we get out of here. I don't feel like I've told Nikki and Joe this. I don't care necessarily about the views. It's not important to me the way people get so wrapped up in views. But I think views are a little different than when you're watching live. And I will say this, seeing the number and the people watching, it means a lot. It really, really does to me. And I know it's not just me. I'm sure it means a lot to Nikki, Vinicio, and Joe as well when he's, Vinicio's here. So I really appreciate the support. It makes a big deal to me because it makes me want to keep doing it when people are watching. It's like, hey, if people aren't going to watch, then you really don't need to go live to do what you're doing, So
I've always said it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of people. And when you look in the chat and all the people that are there are people that it means more to me than having 500 people and you don't really know who they are.
Mm-hmm. And look, people like Ken, I'm sure he's up to 350, 400 watching when he goes live at once. Now, I know when I do a game night or something, there will be more people watching. That's just the way it goes. But it's, I like doing stuff like this too. And a little hint, but I'm thinking about bringing the game nights back. I've been working on one in particular that is called Duck, Duck, Goose. And, I've always wanted to do the game night to make it nostalgic. And I think we all played Duck, Duck, Goose as kids. So I think it would be fun. I have a pretty decent idea to do it. So I'm working on some fine tuning some details of it. But another spoiler, if Allie's still here, I guess I'm just going to announce this now. She doesn't even know this.
Hope you're ready, girl.
yeah, Allie, get ready. But like last year when I had Johnny on for the Hall of Fame stream, we both said Allie. So Johnny said Allie is the next guest. And it's been over a year since that happened. And I have not forgotten about her. Trust me, I've not forgotten about that. I literally have it in my notes. Like I kid you not. I sent Anthony a picture. Let's see. And I can't spoil anything on top of it, but it's literally right there, Hall of Fame for Allie. So I'm working on it. I have details. I write down new segments I have, different things I have planned. I've already been reaching out to people for it. I don't know when that'll be. Hopefully December, January, maybe. Because of a couple things. Allie's been a huge supporter of not just me, but so many people in the community. She's very kind. She treats people with respect. And if I'm going to do it, it's not going to be half-assed. I want to make it really good, and I want Allie to have a good time. So if I'm going to do the Hall of Fame, I'm just going go big or go home with it. So I got to put a lot of work into it to make sure it's good and add some new segments and all that stuff. So Allie, if you're around, be ready. December.
And you didn't mention one of the best things about Allie. She loves Grease 2 as much as I do.
That's true.
So that's always a plus.
She does love Grease 2. That is, the Hall of Fame is coming back. Yeah. So there's still a lot of guests. But if I do, my point is, if I come back to streaming and I do that, I'm going to get rid of the stupid duck in the corner. And if I'm going to pay for StreamYard, I'm going to make sure I utilize it. So if I do pay for StreamYard, if I do the Hall of Fame, I have to pay for it because I got to put up videos and all that stuff. If I'm paying for something, I might as well utilize it. So that's why I'm thinking about bringing the game nights back too. So, and then maybe a what did I just watch stream sprinkled in here and there. Who knows? So if I'm doing a what did I just watch stream, I was talking to Nikki about this. She said, you got to do Johnny's. I said, Johnny's big ass gave me 3-hour movies. I said, I can't. I said, that's going to take me 18 years to watch those. But and then I told her one of the movies, and Nikki's like, that's 4 hours long.
What did he give you? 10 Commandments?
Amadeus.
Oh, so, Jesus.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I said if I'm doing a what did I just watch stream, it would probably be Jeff's list that I would.
I was gonna say for Allie. There we go.
Grease 2 right there. Look at that.
Grease 2 on VHS. Ooh.
I love Johnny to death. I really do. So anytime I pick on Johnny, he knows it's all love. Joe just lit up Allie's face with that Grease 2 comment. That's awesome. And he's sitting right next to her, I'm sure. That's why he gave you those movies. Yep. So yeah, that's that. But I wanted to let you guys all know Caprice. You've been here for 3 hours now. Movie
I'm
warehouse.
sorry.
Movie movie warehouse. You've been here. Johnny and Jeff would have been here if they didn't have a stream and betray us. So or I said Johnny and Jeff, right? Yeah. Anthony and Allie are always watching. Grease 2 is the best. See, look at that.
Yep.
So
Top 10.
yeah, and Movie Hunter's been here. I'm pretty sure the
Yeah.
whole time too. And I might be forgetting some people, but like you said, it's always kind of that same group of people. I know Jess has been here. She came in and has been just kind of popping in throughout and talking. So I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who watches it. It really does mean a lot. And if I forget,
I know Marie's folding clothes and watching on the TV in the bedroom.
Yeah, Marie, look at that with the 4K player. Oh.
Yeah. She's watching it on the 4K TV in the bedroom as she folds clothes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's everything. So stay tuned and we'll see what we got going on next and all that stuff. But if I do bring back game nights, I'm bringing back dodgeball, which has been
That's the one I want to see.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
If when I do bring back dodgeball, Jeff and Joe would have to be a part of it because Jeff and Joe were both two of the people in the chat that wanted to be a part of it. So they would definitely be a part of it this time. And I think I'll have a new co-host. I told Nikki she would be co-hosting with me on those. So it's a lot of work, Nikki. Just a heads up.
That's fine. I want to see Tony play.
Just ask Tony.
Oh yeah.
I put him to work. I told Tony yesterday, I said, I don't know if I could have you play on these things, man. I said, because whoever's on your team is just gonna win every time. I said nobody can beat you. and now so many people have sold so much of their collection.
I was saying that to Bob. I'm like, I was able to almost compete with Tony, and I'm like, Bob, Tim, and myself all sold big chunks of our collection, and all three of us had stuff that we can at least go toe to toe with Tony.
Yeah, Tim sold over 1,000. I've sold.
I was gonna say
Tim
sold.
My last American Virgin. I got her from Tim.
I was gonna say Tim sold over 3,000 on that last sale that he did.
3,000. You sold like 6,000 of your movies.
I sold almost 7,000 in less than a year. Yeah,
and I've sold.
But I still have about 7,000.
Yeah, I've sold like 1,000 movies probably. So, yeah, and a lot of the stuff that I sold was stuff that Tony didn't have, like that ridiculous horror stuff. So, Jeff said he could get one over on Tony every once in a while. Dodgeball would be really tough to play against Tony, though. Really tough.
It would be.
That would be the one game that so it's tough. It's just, but I want Tony to play because I know Tony likes to play. He won't tell you because he's so selfless, but he wants.
Tony's competitive.
He enjoys it, and he wants to kick your ass when he plays. Sure.
Yeah, he gets a smile knocking people out into the backstage.
I actually think every morning he wakes up before a game night or before any kind of competition on anybody's channel. He has a picture of Johnny on his bathroom mirror, and he's listening to the Rocky soundtrack. And he's getting ready to kick Johnny's ass. He's got Jeff on his other bathroom mirror over there, and he's like just getting ready to beat their ass, and
drinking his eggs.
Yep, that's exactly that's how I picture Tony before a game night or before a battle or any of those things. Whoever he's going, he just puts up their picture. He's like, okay, Johnny, Jeff, and Anthony, they're my competition tonight. So he's like he said, he's got his eggs. Oh, good old Tony. All right. Well, anyways, Go Fish. He was pulling some good ones too. Yeah. And he's been on my channel one time. He was on for a game night. So I'm pretty sure I can't remember. It was probably Go Fish then. So
I was gonna say who?
Movie Warehouse.
Movie Warehouse? I think it was Go Fish.
Yeah, it was probably Go Fish. Yeah, and I know you were on for Simon Says. So
yeah,
but
all I could say is I still beat Tony in the DVD battle. It's the only one that I've ever won, and I got to knock Tony out 3 times during the DVD battle.
Jeez. I remember bringing him back, and he was so. I think Tony was so pissed
Yeah. Like I said, I was able during the DVD battle. I knocked Tony out 3 times on that, and I didn't care about winning that. I just cared that I was able to knock Tony out. That was the highlight of that day for me. I for over 2 weeks, that's all I thought about was seeing Tony's face get knocked into the back.
Yeah, I don't know. There's
quick with that backstage button too.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's very fun. That's very fun. Duck Duck Goose, the backstage button will be utilized plenty. I think that's what makes those fun is kind of kicking people out and being an asshole. It makes it a little bit fun. So that's why I figured I got to bring Nikki in as a co-host, because if Tony's not doing it, I got to have Nikki, because you got to have one asshole and one nice person. So I figured,
Good cop, bad cop.
yeah, exactly. So I figure I could be bad cop, let Nikki be good cop. So, but it is fun. It's very fun just being like, goodbye.
I would say it's nothing worse than sitting back down and realizing you're already backstage before you even get back.
After you've just went in there and worked your ass off to find it.
Oh yeah, I've rushed around and then I hurry and jump over the couch, and Bob and everybody are already laughing, and I'm backstage and Bob's like, Joe just sat down and he's pissed, but nobody can see me
because nobody sees you. But
except for him.
I get to see everybody's reaction. So
I'm over there flipping Bob off in the backstage.
Sometimes, yeah. It's hilarious because sometimes I get to see some people really like rage out back there, just like fuck. It's hilarious. It's a lot of fun. I miss the couch jumping. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think those are fun things, and I think for Joe and a lot of us, even Tony, I don't think it's so much about like, oh, the competition or winning or a game night or anything like that.
It's just hanging out.
It's about hanging out, and it's fun. Like, we understand that a lot of us have sold our collection. We might not be as good for a game night or whatever, but it's just about having fun. Even if you suck at it or you get your ass beat, like, it's just to have fun doing it.
No, it's just hanging out with all the people and just catching up with all of them and just having a good time.
Yeah.
Like I said, my collection is not even close to what it used to be, but it, and when you brought it up to me, I'm like, 100% I'm going to lose, but I don't care. I still want to do it just to hang out and have a good time and get some laughs.
Yeah, Duck Duck Goose would be all singles, no teams. So it would be all 1v1v1.
Yeah, on your own merit.
Yeah. I just there's a couple details I gotta fine tune, but if you're interested in doing a game night, just let me know and I'll, write your name down, things like that. I got my handy dandy notebook. Trust me, it's just for streaming purposes and all that stuff. So I love creating. I miss that. I think even though I lost the passion for streaming, but I didn't lose the passion for creating, if that makes sense. I didn't always feel the need to have to commit to something and schedule it and all that. In those game nights, one of the biggest parts that's a pain in the ass is putting together the agree on a day that you could do it, and then getting everybody to do it and everybody together. And, and then one of the biggest things for me is I don't make my thumbnails. Tony does. So if I do a game night, I'm putting a lot of pressure on Tony to put out a thumbnail for me, because if I do it, Lord knows it's going to look like a dumpster fire because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So shout out to Tony for that. I want people to know, like, Tony goes above and beyond to help me out. So doing stuff like that, it's not me, it's all Tony. And so I always have to pressure Tony to do that. But I do want to get back to it. I miss the creating aspect of it. As long as Tony brings this
Right on, girl. Tony's one-liners and the magnifying glass, that's the best part of it all.
Yeah, I can't see, y'all.
Sweetie, you're 55 years old.
Yeah, because I would say I can't see nothing.
It's hilarious.
I was going to say, where is it?
I haven't played that clip. I can't play any clips because I'm not paying for StreamYard right now. I'm sorry. I would if I could. I can't play it. It won't let me. I have to upgrade.
That's funny.
I don't know how much it's going to cost me. See what you get by upgrading. Yeah. I will upgrade once I do Ellie's Hall of Fame stream. She'll be the reason that I upgrade StreamYard because I'll have to because I can't play videos or clips. And the whole point of doing those series, that Hall of Fame, is you got to play the clips. You know what I mean? That's 90% of that or whatever. So,
Mhm.
all right, we've been rambling on long enough. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Everybody checked out. They're all
Yeah.
done. They're like,
exactly. Yeah.
when's the stream gonna end?
Darn, yeah. I can't see y'all.
Yeah. Wait until you get to my age.
Oh, jeez. It is so funny. It is so funny. I wish Tony brought the magnifying glass to Tennessee with him. That would be even better. He just pulls that out in person. So what happens, I get too tired. Nikki's just ready for us to be done. She's like, just like
I was gonna say if I ever meet Tony, I gotta get a picture with him holding the magnifying glass so I can put it on my mantle with all the other YouTubers.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I like to see him take his magnifying glass to orbit.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
next time I meet Tony, I'll make sure he brings his magnifying glass.
If he does it, I'm stopping somewhere and I'm buying one. I'm making him hold it.
As you say, I'll have him bring two, one for me, one for him, and then one for you too.
Yeah.
3 of us. All right. Anyways, come to Tennessee next time in May, and we could do that, Joe. We'll make that happen.
Mm.
Is it April? But yeah. All right. That's it. That's everything. Enjoy your night. Thanks everyone for being here, and have a good one. Until next time, I will see everyone on the next one. Have a good one. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Later.